real problems. All right. It's not me, bro. There's a final solution. Right? Nice.
MAGA strong, so it should be fun today. All right, go ahead, Tyler. Just kick us off.
I'm going to dive into kind of our updates since last time. Looking through a lot of my previous notes here, not much has changed. Trump's up like 1 point from where he was in the aggregate prior. His immigration's sitting about solid. He's doing good in crime and border security, doing bad on inflation. Still got about 50 to 52% of the country saying that his economic policies right now suck, but long term they're looking forward to the results. And I see a bunch of one court cases, so I would say he's still going strong, powering through, and a lot of the things that were the justices in our Supreme Court that were trying to usurp power from the president and delegate it all to themselves have been failing left and right.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Grid.
Yeah, I'm Grid One Motorsports. You can find me at An Unreasonable Man. I do satire, comedy sometimes. I talk about the news and money and stuff, just general stuff. I can't wait to get into this because the left is completely unhinged and absolute denial. It's great. It's wonderful. Let's go. Let's get into it, guys. Let's move it. Let's move that needle.
I'm excited. All right, Jake Varr.
Yeah, I'm Jake Varr. For you guys that don't know me on Gibbs' channel, I have a YouTube channel called Project Veopod, so that's where you can see me there. And yeah, guys, let's get into it because at the end of the day, the left are fucking lunatics. We knew this. Obviously, these people are easily seen as inciting violence. They are the party of violence. And what's the solution to this? This is, I think, something that I think we as right-wingers need to discuss moving forward there. But yeah, with that being said.
All right, thank you so much. And returning to the panelverse, Mr. Pentuple, our MAGA lawyer. How you doing? What are your thoughts? You're muted, it looks like.
Sorry, I'm going to have to turn off this TTS because my people don't know how to behave. And it's coming through my speakers, so it probably sounds like shit to you guys. I don't even know if I can hear it. But anyways.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody's trying to get a horn.
Here's what I want to say. I will say, I do think that my position on our prompt here today is something that me and Gibbs have spoken about. I know Tyler's been in that group chat. So we've been talking about this for a few months now. The left is insufferable and insane. They went for 4 years now preaching all pretentiously and academically about stochastic terrorism and then can't figure out why we blame them for Charlie Kirk's shooting. These people are dishonest. They're fucking liars. They're disgusting. And just to get straight to the point, I think that exactly what we're doing tonight is how we should respond to leftist rhetoric and leftist violence. These people are not going to change their mind. The debate has been had for 10 years. I think it's time that we don't give them a seat at the table. Why do we need to keep engaging with people in 2025 about January 6th? These people aren't open-minded, honest people. They have a narrative that they're trying to push. They have a side that they've chosen, and we've chosen our side. And it's not a lack of debate anymore. At this point, the sides couldn't be clearer. The idea of having a person in the middle, it sounds goofy to everyone now. It's probably been a few years that that's been the case. So, I have no patience for. I used to distinguish between liars and people who believe lies, but at this point, no, I don't care. You're either on one side or you're on the other, and I've picked my side, and I want my side to win, and I'm ready to start implementing. We've been debating for too long. 10 years. Are these people really going to change their mind on abortion? Are they going to change their mind on transgenderism, especially with minors? No, I don't think so. So I think it's time for our side to say, you know what, we're actually going to push for these laws to be passed. We're going to push for what we want. We're going to push for our side of the debate, and we're going to implement it. And look, we're already winning. This is one of the reasons we're seeing this leftist rhetoric and this leftist violence heat up, is because they know that they're losing. They're losing on every front. They're losing academically. They're losing spiritually now. They're losing in the actual political realm at the elections. Like, it's over, and it's time for us to actually show what it looks like to be on the winning side. And I feel really good about the last few weeks and the way that our side has said, you know what, you guys want to do? You guys want to play that game? All right. Let's show you how little power you guys actually have, because this is the only power they have left.
That's solid, man. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. That's rad, dude. That's cool.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that more. I'm probably gonna be a little more involved in this than I usually would be on these panels, because it's more of a righty panel. I don't have a feeling we're not gonna be all just like screaming at each other as a need for a moderator. But I at first, I'll be honest, I'm kind of somewhere in between these stances where I was before. I'm definitely moving more and more towards Penn's point. I think that we need to push legislature, and I'm really glad to see that. Just today they announced that there's possibly that 8 states or something are refusing to give up their voter rolls to the federal government, which is very suspicious. Why would they be afraid of that? Ken Paxton announced last week that he found examples of 70,000 different ballots that were not valid here in Texas. So if they're doing that here in Texas, what are they doing? And I think there's another state that just announced they found 200,000 ballots that were used somewhere and maybe changed an election in a single state towards Biden. So I'm a little interested to see how this goes. I really hope that we do keep pushing the legislature, but I do want to focus on something. I think that the Charlie Kirk death was a turning point, right? It's really lifted the mask. I disagree that there wasn't people in the middle for a few last few years, but I think people are off the fence now, right? I've never seen people more motivated than since the Charlie Kirk death. I've seen people that were not really politically motivated at all decide that they're going to step into the ring of politics. I've seen people cutting people off, and I wonder if the time for debate really is over, and what does that really mean? What are y'all's thoughts?
Well, look, I thought this was a little bit of a Republican strategy session generally. I didn't realize it was just on this specific topic.
It's good to several topics.
I got a 16-page
Oh, yeah, you had your Google Doc, your polls.
Yeah, don't worry. I got a 16-page ready for this one as well. So,
16
that
pages?
being said, I'm kind of, yes, I sent it to you. I'm kind of with you guys on that. As somebody that wants to clean up my own house before I worry about the conservatives, it greatly bothers me that these leftists have so much input. And now you have people like Destiny Hutch and all these people saying they're the moderates when they believe almost every single point that the far left believes. They just think Israel should be able to exist, but it's still committing a genocide and evil. But at least it should exist. So, we're moderate. But every fucking point that they believe. So they need to lose, and they need to lose until they can start getting it back in line with reality. And at this point, the political violence is just another sign of them blaming the least violent demographics in the country when it's almost always leftist violence.
Well, I mean, I think that we have to be intellectually honest here and say that the left really are in denial, ultimate denial about who they are. They are the party of violence. Now they're not the party of great violence. The right is the party of great violence. We can be very violent, but we're also very, we understand that we have that capacity, right? But the left is a bunch of insane people right now that are backing other insane people. And at the same time, what's really interesting is they will literally say stupid shit like 80% of violence is committed by the right. Well, yeah, sure. If and only if you include the Muslims in religious crimes, right? Like that. If you don't do that, if you eliminate that, there's barely
exclude
people have
violence.
Brought statistics.
Gang violence aren't gangs aren't on the right. Drug abuse.
Yeah, but that's my point. But if you exclude gangs, then then obviously it's
that
not only that they don't even add in. They don't even add in the BLM riots. With that stat that you were bringing up, I've seen it. They didn't add the BLM. BLM is actually considered neutral violence. It's not on the left.
Yeah, but January 6th is 1,000.
Yeah, and January 6th is considered right wing, but then at the same time, BLM's not considered left wing violence.
This
is how they skew the numbers there.
But again,
They
what
were
we're finding out
considering
about,
Antifa
I'm
right
sorry,
now.
go ahead, Tyler. I apologize.
They took Antifa, said that Antifa was attacking government. This was anti-government action, and classified Antifa violence against police as right-wing violence in that study in the ADL.
I do remember that, but even more than that, Tyler, like it's so they're such big fat liars. They're just liars. That like
well,
they have this Jan 6. They cling to Jan 6, and yet they never want to update any of their information, right? Like right now, we know that they're one of the big things that they talk about is that the Proud Boys are the ones that broke in to the congressional building, right? That's a big talking point. And yet it wasn't a Proud Boy. It was an undercover Fed who broke down the door and said, "Come on in, guys, let's go."
Yeah, what's his name? Ray Epps?
Yeah, no, I don't think it was Ray Epps. I think Ray Epps is the guy they are.
Enrique Tarrio or something.
Yeah, it's Enrique.
Enrique was
one
of
the guys that's he was not arrested, right? It was very weird that he wasn't arrested to begin with. But now he's under investigation. I think there are a total of 80 federal officers that were on site that day as in plain clothes, undercover. They have video of one dropping a pistol on purpose so that they could say that the protesters were armed. Like there's video of the guy literally just like walking by and just like throwing a gun on the ground.
Yep.
So
anytime, I'm sorry, Pentup, I just want to close out.
Go ahead, finish.
I just want to close this out. So anytime I start talking to somebody about Jan 6, and if all they're going to cite is information from 2020 and 2021, I don't even want to talk to them anymore because they're so far out of fucking date. They don't have a fucking clue. And it's not worth the effort to engage with them because they literally don't want to acknowledge any of the investigations that are coming out. I'm going to have Tim Hale, who was in prison for 3 years.
Oh, no shit. He was a J6er.
And he was exonerated of all crimes. And that the feds went after this guy hardcore because he was actually a contractor prior to his arrest. He worked as a contractor with the Navy to in like nuclear evaluation or something. I don't know. He was a guy who went around and checked boxes or something. I don't know. But so because he was part of the government, they went extra hard at him. They actually wired his roommate to try and get him to admit that he purposefully went in and damaged stuff. And all the video they got of him is walking around and he used the congressional bathroom to take a piss. That's it. That's all he got on. 3 years in federal prison, bro. 3 years. Yeah. Yep. And now he's completely exonerated. He didn't need the pardon. He didn't need Trump's pardon. He was completely exonerated of all crimes. And so he's part of the witness list against these feds. He's part of this case. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to do another interview with him to where we lay all of this stuff out that people that the press sweep under the rug or put back on page 22. And nobody they don't want anybody to see this shit, right? But I seriously want to bring all this stuff to light because Jan 6 is in fact used as a sign that the right is violent, and yet it was our own government acting
relatively peaceful.
It was relatively peaceful, right?
All right. So as far as this assassination being a turning point, I think it is, but I also think the turning point is overdue. And I would point to the conversations that Gibbs, Tyler, and I had in our group chats for several months leading up to this assassination, where I felt strongly that bringing on these people and giving them a seat at the table has been something that's not really for the purposes of debate, right? The debate is to, at some point, make a decision based on that debate. We're not supposed to just debate these issues until we die and pass it on to the next generation. We're actually supposed to implement some decisions at some point. And I would say the left has clearly no principles. And this is more visible now than ever. They were so academic about the First Amendment. And then after seriously, with this whole Charlie Kirk thing and the mockery and stuff and people losing their job, ask any of these people what they think should happen to a white person who says the N-word online.
Yeah, canceled.
Seriously.
Canceled.
100%.
Of course, canceled. Of course,
well,
you lose your job. Oh, what happened to your free speech? They use these principles against us. These people are dishonest. I mean, they forget they were so academic about the First Amendment back when Twitter was banning all of us from 2017 to 2022. They were so academic about it. Oh, well, private platforms and blah blah blah, and then they just completely forget that. They preach it, like I said at the beginning, they preach about stochastic terrorism, which is this language and rhetoric and incitement that's designed to get someone crazy out there to act it out. And then when we associate their rhetoric with Charlie's assassination, they're like, "Oh, what are you talking about? He doesn't represent any of us. He doesn't represent anyone." These are the people that were so pretentious and academic about it for 4 fucking years. These people are liars. We don't need to give them a seat at the table.
What's worse is they will pull out bullshit like, well, the guy who offed the 2 senators in Michigan.
Oh yeah, Melissa Hoffman, Hoffman and her husband.
Hoffman and her husband. Yeah. Well, that was a right-wing guy, but was he? Was he really?
Yeah, he worked for.
Are we really going to argue that anyone knew who they are? It's clearly different.
Well,
he worked for their campaign. They tried to burn down Shapiro's house. That guy was a left-winger, radical activist, big Hamas supporter, and they tried to frame him as right-winger incorrectly. But that guy, the Melissa Hoffman shooter, he was.
Why did he?
Well, hold on. So this is the problem with this, right? Like, okay, I said this yesterday on the panel I was on, right? And I listed all the leftist violence in the last 2 weeks. And I think that somebody here, I don't know who said, they've gotten desperate, and that's why we're seeing more violence, right? Is we're pushing policy through. We're like lifting up these rocks. Remember how they said there was no evidence of voter fraud? Now we're lifting up the rocks. We're seeing, hey, guess what? There actually is evidence of voter fraud, right? You know, maybe we haven't found the widespread gold smoking gun yet, but we're finding, we're finding like a little bit of traces. I'm seeing a little smoke here and there, right? We see, I heard AutoPin wasn't going to be a thing. I told him this. And now it's a fundamental platform of Trump's second term. He literally put the little photo of Biden
up there. I saw that shit. It was so hilarious.
This is like going, and they're like talking about indictments for it, right? Y'all just talked about Comey getting indicted. Like there's things like there's steps. He's pushing the policy. The economy seems to be doing all right. We're seeing the border immigration. We're getting stuff done. Like it seems like there's a turn. But the thing with the Charlie Kirk thing is it seems it's ignited the violence. I think they've figured out that they're losing, and it feels like the game is up, right? So now they're trying to silence people.
I don't know. I need to ask our token lefty here just a second. So I really don't understand how the Hartman or Hoffman, whatever, I can never remember that name, but the shooters in Michigan, the shooter in Michigan, didn't he work for her?
Well, that's where I was going. With. Okay, so there is evidence, and this is the problem. I said on this panel yesterday, I was like, okay, well, let's grant all these are left wing, okay? But when we look at y'all keep bringing up the Hartmans. Well, okay, I'll grant you he was right wing, just for the sake of argument. But if we really want to dive into it, this is a much more dubious case than any of the other ones where y'all were like, oh, he's not.
Jimmy Kimmel said.
Well,
because it wasn't a political crime, though. It wasn't a political crime, was it?
The shooter of Charlie Kirk does, in fact, represent everyone who celebrated and mocked that death. And if we want to say the same for Hortman's shooting, we can. The problem is that celebration and that mockery was not prevalent like it is with Charlie Kirk's shooting.
I mean, the other thing is
there is no equivalent. I don't know a single person that mocked that shooting that celebrated it. Nobody even knows who.
What I'm going with
there's a level of difference in the size of these figures. If this shooter that shot Charlie Kirk, if they can say that shooter doesn't represent anyone when he clearly represents all of the people celebrating it, well, they can't argue then that this Hortman shooter represents anybody because I don't know anybody that was celebrating. I can name people in my personal life that were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death.
I will even double down here because the Melissa Hartman assassination that happened, bro, lefties didn't even know about that when it happened on June 14th on Trump's birthday during the LA riots. Remember the No Kings protest shit that was happening?
Yeah, that's true.
No lefty was talking about that shit. They only talk about it till now that it's convenient with the Charlie Kirk situation.
I don't have enough information
about fucking bringing it up. No lefty was actually fucking arguing.
Let me just say one last thing about the Hartman thing. This is where I keep going with this. Is right. Like I try to be good faith and just grant that is right wing violence, right?
And that's fine, but it still doesn't matter.
But hold on. And FQ brings this up in my chat. And she said it's the only example of right wing violence in the first 6 months of 2025, right? And their argument would be like, well, y'all were right. We did violence before, I guess. But my point that I'm making is I didn't want to contest that. But if you really look at that case, it doesn't look like he was politically motivated. It looks like he was mad about other shit, and then he went and killed him. And so it's like, and so it's like you're gonna go in there and you're gonna say, oh, right wing violence, and it's really, well, I fucking was doing XYZ with this guy's wife or something, or like I don't remember exactly, but there are all these other reasons why he's got a motive that aren't political. And it's like, well, if we really want to dive into it, then y'all are kind of being dishonest about this as well, right? And so I feel like their hypocrisy is really just like blatant, like the censorship. They said this, and then they've been bitching about the censorship for a week, and we find out with the House Judiciary Committee, oh, well, y'all were doing this, but on a much broader scale. Like
they're the political equivalent of an atheist trying to use a Bible against a Christian. And these leftists, the only reason that we keep giving them a seat at the table, but they're overrepresented online because you can't be a part of this mindless cult unless you are terminally online. There's nobody out there in their normal life that isn't terminally online that's celebrating the murder of an innocent man. These people are overrepresented online. They've astroturfed their support. They're losing on every front. We're winning on every front. We don't need to keep them at the table. We can just move on and say, look, if you haven't figured out in the year of our Lord 2025 that a man can't be a fucking woman, you're retarded. You don't get to have a seat at our table.
I'll even tell you this. They don't give a shit about any of these fucking conflicts unless it benefits them or to make Trump look bad. You even go to the Epstein files. Remember, they had 4 years to reveal the Epstein files. They didn't care. The left didn't care about the Epstein files until now that we put pressure on Donald Trump and Kash Patel to reveal them, and they didn't fork up the information. Now all of a sudden the left cares about the Epstein files, and now they're using it against Donald Trump and people like us. That's the only time they'll fucking give a shit. Is just
whatever.
I want to move the convo,
and it's the same thing with Melissa Hartman's situation.
I want to move the convo to something Penn said, and this is kind of what I think the meat of what I want to talk about today is, right? And so Fairy Queen brings up another good point. I actually agree with Fairy Queen here, and she says basically, hey, Temple's wrong on this. There are lots of regular people out celebrating, and I can tell you right now, I've seen tons of people celebrating that are regular normies. They're not politically online, and they're celebrating in the streets over Kirkstad, and it's been gross. And I think that it's twofold. I think that Temple's right and wrong here, right? I think that it's not we need to give them a seat at the table, because I think we need to exclude them from the table. But I do think that we need to continue going and beating them at their table, which is the debate world, right? We need to keep going in there and tearing them a new ass up.
You can do that if you want.
We have to go in. Sure. I mean, and it's not fun, but I think the point is we need to go in there. We need to reach the youth, right? Because their method has been get the youth. And if we could go beat them and make being conservative cool again, then hey, why would you want to follow Destiny when you have a meat-eating, red-blooded American who's talking about fucking bitches, God, winning guns, snorting on, whatever. Let's get some alpha male energy back in America and get rid of this beta country.
I was actually talking about that on my show earlier today, and about how actually what's really makes me happy right now is the at least in the people that I interact with, the youth, especially the young men, are way more conservative than they have been, and it's growing. Like they don't like this being lied to. They don't like, kids don't like to be lied to anyway, but they really don't like the rhetoric that's coming out. They understand bullshit when they hear it. And they look at they're looking at their older peers, right? And they're looking at these blue-haired wussies, right? That don't make any sense. And I've heard it said that Gen Alpha is like Gen X without the rule book, right? Like they don't have parents that can control, or most of them don't have parents that can control them. So they're going to be like Gen X, only like worse, unfettered, if you will. And I think that I'm very much heartened by the youth. And I keep telling, on my show today, I made a point to tell my audience that it's very, very important right now that we as men reach out and teach younger men. I'm actually sick of talking to grown ass men about how to go date bitches. If you're 30 years old, 40 years old, and you don't know how to get laid, I can't help you, brother. I'm sorry.
That's a good
analogy.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Tyler.
I'm done. I'm done with it, right? Like I just can't.
Sorry.
So I look at a lot of polling. Pentuple hates it, but I just linked one to Gibbs. If we're looking at the country right now of who the adults in the country want to lead the party right now, the Republicans are up on crime by 20 points, immigration by 18 points, foreign conflicts by 12 points, U.S. economy by 10 points, gun control by 4 points. Like even gun control, one of the Democrats' number one issues.
That's their biggest one.
Yeah, one of their top issues. They still got. I think healthcare is their biggest winner for them in terms
probably.
Of but, political extremism. Republicans up 4 points on dealing with that. Respect for democracy. Republicans only down by 2, 31 to 29, meaning they're pretty much neck and neck on respect for democracy. Corruption, Republicans are better by 6 points. Every metric right now, if you ask the people, you're sure I'm not a huge fan of Trump, but wow, he's way better than those fucking crazy Democrats. I think Pentuple has a point. It's not worth talking to these people anymore, and they're so predictable. Like, I'm about to do a thing on Jake's channel here, and I'm about to do another one with same topic for both you guys. One on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever her name is. Raging Tomato and
Rotten Tomato.
I have the same intro for
Raging,
both of them. It's
Raging
be,
Tomato.
We can't listen to anything Israel says because they lied about something unrelated one time, and we can take the Hamas terrorists at face value every single time. We don't need to back up a single claim with any fact. It's always this massive double standard, and it happens in everything. Like, and people are sick of it. Where everyone notices it. I'm a moderate swing voter. I voted mostly Democrat. Even in 2024 and 2020, I still voted blue down ticket. I just voted Trump, then Trump Kemp. Otherwise, I completely Democrat. I just have nothing to do with the party.
I can save her, he says.
Talia and Ryan were talking last night. They're both like, I don't want anything to do with this party. We go on like these debates, on these lefty debates, and they're awful. And these people are terrible. And there's no room for somebody like me. They just want my vote.
I think that helps us, though. I really think that helps us. I mean, so like my kid watches Destiny. My kid will watch 3 minutes of Destiny and go, "What is this idiot talking about?" Like literally.
Yeah,
that helps us, man.
Yeah. But you know, they're getting bad on the rhetoric, but I'll tell you this, like, as far as like the radical left shouldn't have a seat at the table, you do have to realize that from what I've noticed, even normal lefty people that vote Democrat, even they're moderate, they'll say, yeah, I condemn, you know, the Charlie Kirk assassination, but at the same time, he was pretty racist and he was pretty bad. And they're still sharing the memes of the jokes of killing him, you know, etc. Like,
that's true.
At the end of the day, even normal lefties are still kind of in the barrel of saying like, yeah, why are we honoring this guy? You know, and I think
I'm glad
when it comes down to it,
stochastic terrorism.
yeah, and I think when it comes down to it, bro, we need to keep talking about Charlie, and we need to make sure that because people have goldfish memories. We need to keep talking about Charlie because we're going to lead into the midterms, and we need to focus on that the left wants us dead, so that way they don't get any power anytime soon.
Well, they're playing into the hand. Well, they're really playing in their hand. Like they've had just since Charlie died, we've had
past midterms.
4 or 5 people, 4 or 5 attacks, right? And I think, and like this is maybe why I disagree. I think like when we're up, like I think Pentuble's got half of this, right? We need with policy, we need to hammer it down their throat. Right. Trump's doing real good with that, with policy, with like pushing the judicial system, you know, all the other stuff. Big fan. Like, he needs to keep slamming out. But I think like we need to go get in the trenches and make sure that we keep kicking them while they're down, because if we let them like go and disappear into the little corner, they're going to sit here and fester, and they're going to get back into the youth, and eventually we're going to have another swing back the other way. I think the only way to do that is just hammer the fuck out of them and everything, because the best way to beat them is let them speak, right? They just like you said, Natalia and them, it's like they hear this shit and people are like, oh my God, this is what they really want is evil. Like I can't be a part of this, right? Like I think that's we just got to keep exposing them for this, or I don't know, or they're going to be able to claw their way back in.
Now, so what we all know here, right? I hope that we all understand that what happens on the left, and I don't mean to include you here, Tyler. I know you're one of the good ones, but but even if it's something like, but even if it's the left will corrupt things so that the more moderate or undecided or just non-political person, if they hear a headline, they'll think Republican, right? If it's bad. And then if you ask them, like, who do you think right now wants to increase your taxes? Oh, Republicans. Well, no, actually Republicans are cutting taxes, but Democrats are raising them. No, Democrats don't want to raise my taxes. They're trying to help me. They're trying to give me money. No, well, where do you think the money fucking comes from, idiot? But I mean,
they only cut taxes for the rich, right?
Right.
That's
yeah.
the talking point. It's only for the rich.
Right. And it's just this very interesting way that the left has always been able to kind of twist the narrative. And the problem is that the way that YouTube works, the way that we have instant information, the way that we have video, and you can tell if video has been edited or not edited, and you know, all of this. It's hard. It's getting harder to manufacture the lie and keep to the narrative. You know, Destiny can spurg all he wants, but people know the truth, and that's what, like Rob will just let him sit there and spurg, and then he'll put up like the video, right? Like, no, this is what happened. Right? What are you talking about? And so it's just a very interesting time, and I think that's one of the reasons I really do believe that our youth are coming back to the right, because they're not stupid. They are the children of videotape, right? Like they absolutely.
Well, the hypocrisy couldn't be more obvious. They were so, like I said, and I keep repeating this point. They were so academic and pretentious about freedom of speech principles when Tucker Carlson was getting fired from Fox News, when we were all getting banned from every social media platform. And then they act like they were never that way when as soon as Jimmy Kimmel gets pulled off the air for not even a week. I don't even know what the deal was there.
2 days.
And it was based on an FCC guy's podcast appearance. I don't even know the FCC actually took any action there.
No.
But these are the same people that preach about stochastic terrorism. Look up what stochastic terrorism and tell me that that's not exactly why we associate leftist rhetoric with Charlie Kirk's shooting. They've been throwing all of this stuff at us, and then when it's true about them, they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. These people are liars. They are not honest debaters. They are not somebody you want to be a part of your conversation. If you're at a table and you're trying to actually get something done, you can't have people like this at the table. You never will progress, which is why I disagree with Gibbs. Because
sorry, guys, I can't.
I understand the purpose of debate, but the problem is debate will always be there. There will always be a debate, but we don't have to have this version of the left end of our debate. We can have these debates with people like Tyler representing that farther left end, with libertarians becoming the new left. There will always be a spectrum. There will always be groups within any debate. But the problem is we're like, oh, well, what do the retards think? What do the 19-year-olds with no life experience think? What do the people think who haven't even read the Constitution? There's no reason to engage with these people.
And I'll tell you this, you have to realize a lot of young people right now, they don't remember how life was like during the 2016 of Donald Trump, the first election of Donald Trump. I ran into this one guy that also started a channel. He's on the left as well.
Makes a noise.
He buys into the kind of the narrative that the right is violent. This is something that he told me. And I told him, I'm like, dude, don't you remember back in 2016 when Maxine Waters was saying to get into the face of MAGA supporters? I told him I was wearing a fucking MAGA hat, and I would wear a MAGA hat, and I would get attacked because of wearing a MAGA hat back in 2017. He's like, dude, I've just been barely following politics for about a year and a half. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. A lot of these young people don't remember the first administration of Donald Trump, how we were being attacked as MAGA supporters back then.
Well, I mean,
just a blank at this point.
But even they're losing, and if these young people want to be a part of the debate, they can either choose the side that everyone's ignoring, which is going to be this version of the left that we're talking about, or they can engage with us, and they can engage with us honestly, like the way Tyler has. You don't have to agree with us on every economic principle, every political argument. You don't. But if you will sit there and forever declare that a man can be a woman, if you can do that for your entire life, you're never going to evolve. But we don't need to make these people evolve.
The problem I have with this, right, is because, okay, I guess this is going to be the closest I get to conspiracy theory. Like, I'm not sitting here like the Jews control Hollywood, right, or something. But like, I think the left controls Hollywood. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, I wish. Hey, listen to my Jewish overlord.
I've seen a compelling chart.
Give me some money. I need it. But like, my point is though, I see the left controls Hollywood. I see they control like the social media, like to an extent. I see like we are starting to get like our own like areas of like empower, and these companies are backing down and reinstating people, and like I see a lot of that, right? However, they still control a significant portion, right? Like for example, I'll use Modi as an example. He don't know any of us, and when he saw me debating Hutch the other day,
Euro.
Yeah, well, sure, but this is fine. He's in young generation. He hangs out with a lot of Americans. He goes, "Oh, is that Hutch?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Hutch does politics now?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I remember him from I don't remember what fucking gaming thing. Yeah." And so I'm like, "Okay." And then I'll go in there and I'll talk, and he'll like, "Oh, the only right leaning guy I know from that generation is like Snipe Down, right?" And I'm like, oh, well, Snipe Down's not involved politically at all, right? And so what's crazy is we're seeing like, well, now he's starting, but like we're seeing like this, they have this kind of like hold on the youth. And I think that it's important that we go in there and we expose this blatant hypocrisy like to them in these debate circles. And that's what it's for, while not letting them have a seat at the table for the policy. I think that's important that we keep.
At some point, at what point are you on giving? At what point are you their life support, Gibbs? Because at some point we do need to evolve past this version of the left, and at some point you can let the new left, which would be, in my opinion, just like the libertarian side of our movement, represent that. Like, there's always going to be debate.
Before we get there,
people can be honest. When I talk to right wingers, we can. I'll often, like, I can't tell you what any given right winger thinks about gay marriage. I can't. But I can tell you what every single left winger thinks about gay marriage.
Well, so hold on.
At some point, these people are not part of any debate. They are trying to strong arm what they want, and we need to show them that we're going to strong arm what we want. And we're winning.
I'm going to give it the grid, but I want to say one thing before I give it the grid. I did this on a panel like last week on purpose. So what I've been doing is I've written down all the different things I've been called by the lefties, right? And if y'all know who Dr. Joseph Goebbels is, he was the third or fourth strongest person in the Third Reich. He's the minister of propaganda. He's probably the guy who invented modern propaganda. Genius but evil, right? And he says the best way to get rid of your enemies is label them at the time. This is in the 30s, right? Is to label them communists and fascists, right? And so whatever. So he pitches the capitalists and the bourgeois or whatever as this. And so I think all they've done today is take that playbook and just add Nazi, which is crazy because they're actually representing a lot of these values. And I've started calling them their own names, and suddenly they realize the danger they're in when they're getting called the names that they've been calling us. Like, you call them Big Papa Goebbels, and suddenly they're afraid for their life. Like, I can't believe you call me Nazi. You're putting me in danger. And it's like, oh well, but you called me a Nazi. I've been called Nazi for 10 times in all these people. But we're gonna go to Grid, then get together. Go ahead, Grid.
Yeah. So I think that what we have to look at that, even though we're not just talking about a little bit of violence or specific people, and my chat reminded me, I knew about it. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but Cam Higbee, who's a content creator, was basically forced off of the TSU campus earlier this week. And according, and I have not seen this, but according to my person in chat, it says he had to leave campus because the students became more violent and started getting physical with the group. TSU then issued a statement saying our students behaved, when the video obviously shows otherwise.
All of our students behaved appropriately and professionally, and then the video is them screaming, all of these
literally screaming and saying that they don't want
flicking them off and throwing their shit.
They literally have. Students have made statements. They don't want white people on the campus.
They don't want the debate either. And this is what I'm saying. This is why the debate is over. Nobody's still sitting there. Oh man, I just can't figure out about this whole transgender thing. We've decided we don't want children being mutilated. We need to actually act on that. I can't tell my kids, oh yeah, we've been debating this since I don't want to do this for 20 more years. At some point, it's like, okay, we've had the debate and we've won. We are the ones in power. And there's a reason we're in power. And we're not going to waste it. This has been the eternal curse of the two parties flipping back and forth for the last time. And you know what? Those historical trends are over. This was a turning point. And that turning point was overdue. We've been winning, and we need to start acting like we're winning. We don't need to be like, oh, well, it's just our turn to be ahead. No. We're going to fucking win this thing, and then it's going to end. And then we're going to have new debates. We're going to have new issues to debate. We don't need to keep letting in illegals forever. We've had the debate. You lost the debate. That's why Trump is in office. If anything they believed was true, he wouldn't have won. The only reason he's there is because everyone knows they're fucking lying. And if they're not lying, they believe liars. I don't distinguish between the two anymore. It's over for them. And that's why they're doing this. That's why they're acting out. And the only thing we can honestly do is actually make progress. And guess what? They don't play a role in those future debates. Because if you couldn't figure out that January 6th wasn't an insurrection, if you can't realize what Trump is capable of if he had tweeted something inciting, these people are not serious. They don't deserve a role at the table. They've lost. This is what losing feels like. Elections have consequences, however you want to put it. I have no patience for them anymore.
I'm going to go to Tyler here, but I do want to say one thing real with the transgender thing. I actually think that there's actually a group that's a group that could switch to the right. and this is, I'm going to tell you why. I know a lot of trans liberals, right, that are like very moderate, like central left, or they're like capitalist, and they really only vote because the right is so diehard against the trans. And most of them are like, well, all I want, and this is like, maybe it's the Texas mentality, is I want to be able to spend the money, look as hot as I can as the other sex or whatever they like to believe, right? And I want to be left the fuck alone. And the lefties are pushing this radical agenda that's actually endangering me. If these people think I'm like a pedo and I'm going to go and talk to their kids, like obviously they're going to want to kill me. And I think that's a real argument. I think you can win a lot of these people over with like, hey, listen, you know, if you go away from these people and you exercise these people from your party, then, you know, like maybe, you know, you can be left alone to live your life. And I think that's a really good point. But
Gibbs, I wouldn't want those people. I wouldn't want those people in the table to begin with as influencers, etc. I'm just saying, like, we don't want transgender influence.
Well, they wouldn't want to be influencers. Most of them are like want to be left alone. You want them to, you know.
Like, well, okay, I don't know if they do, because from what I've seen online, they don't seem to be.
Sure, there's not all. I mean,
that's
a segment. But let me just ask you this then, right? Like let's just say you're like a crazy, like let's say you're a snake handler, like a Christian snake handler, right? And you want like a Pentecostal, okay? And so you have an extreme religious Christian belief, right? And you on your ranch, you want to like handle snakes and you want to do whatever you want to do, like, and whatever. But like, hey, you know, the rest of the nation's not cool. Should you be allowed to like do that in the comfort of your own home? Like, I would say yes, right?
I would say yes, but at the same time, I wouldn't want these people to have an influence on our youth. I think that's the problem there. Especially people like Blair White that have entered or infiltrated the conservative movement, I think is a net negative. We don't need to cater to transgenders. They're a small portion of the United States that I don't even think is even worth addressing, to be honest.
Well, what about Milo then? I mean, I think
what about
he's just as nefarious.
Yeah, he used to be a mag, but at the end of the day, at least he's trying his best to kind of like make up for all of his homosexual promotions from back in the day. But nevertheless, yeah, Milo, I would say back in the day, I wouldn't want him to be influencing the right. You know, it's still a glorification. Even Dave Rubin, who adopted him and his gay lover, adopted a kid. You know, I think that's something we should be against. I don't think homosexuals should adopt children.
There's nothing wrong with being gay. Pentuple watches baseball. So
there you go.
That is pretty gay.
There we go. Here's the thing, though. I will agree. I'm going to make a couple of points here on this. And first,
hold on. Let Tyler go.
I'm sorry, Tyler. I apologize.
Before you unload, let me get all these things out that I got written.
He's been waiting. I keep cutting him off.
Yeah, I cut him off last.
I'm a polite left winger. You know, you don't see that very often. But to Pence' point, I kind of agree with him. We don't need to do these debates. We don't need to keep rewarding dishonest people with a seat. There's a time for the debate, and it's 6 months before a fucking major election. And then cut them the fuck off for a year and a half and don't talk to them. Let them stew in their anger by themselves and pat each other on the back on Blue Sky. And let's just move on with their fucking lives and watch all these lawsuits come in with giant W's on them. Like, I don't know.
It only matters what the winning side has to say. We're the ones that are winning. We're the ones that are interesting to listen to. We're the ones that actually have a position that matters. These people aren't changing. These people are going to die thinking that a man can become a woman, thinking that we should abort children out of convenience.
I'm getting there. Destiny debates Trent Horn on fucking pregnancy and abortion.
Get rid of Destiny. You shouldn't even have a platform anymore.
I'm saying Destiny gets completely blown out of the water on abortion on whatever podcast, goes back to his stream, spends the next 2 days completely rewriting the debate, making shit up, lying about Trent Horn, smearing him as a person. Wick goes on Tim Pool. Lactoid completely blows him out. He embarrasses himself. He was red in the face, yelling. He couldn't pronounce fucking places he was talking about properly. Embarrassed himself. It was just appalling behavior. And then the next day he goes on a stream, invites on a couple friends who were also kind of, one of them was a paid propaganda.
Yeah, and they stroke each other's cocks.
And not only that, he insulted his friend Lactoid over and over, called him an idiot, called him stupid, called him dishonest. And like, this dude's like, what the fuck, we're buddies. And he was willing to throw his buddy under the bus and stomp on his fucking head just because he lost a fucking debate and embarrassed himself. I don't know. Like, to Gibbs' point too, like, even if we talk about black crime, we're getting people killed. Karen's calling the police on black men, getting people killed. Wanting police is getting people killed. Well, you know, like, even mentioning gender is the same thing as sex is getting people killed. You can't even say radical Islam because it's getting people killed by those racist white people that live in the United States. And at the end of the day, right wingers are all fascists, and that's not hurting anybody at all. And if we say it is, then you're suppressing my free speech. It's so fucking disingenuous. And lastly, Since Hutch was brought up, I just want to say that scumbag weasel rat bet me 2 times $100. One time on the election in 2024, and the other time on Ukraine and Russia. That scumbag weasel rat was wrong, and instead of paying me the $200 he owed me, he blocked me because he doesn't make enough money off of his shitty political stream, which is why he's sweeping and sucking destiny cock to pay his bills. Pay your fucking debts, you scumbag snake weasel rat.
That's wonderful. This channel does not condone the views of everybody here, but do pay. Listen, be a Lannister. Pay your debts. All right, go ahead, Grid.
Yeah. So I kind of, we kind of cooled off on that on the trans, gay, whatever issue, but I just want to. There's a few points I think that are really relevant to the way the right should be viewing it and how we should, how we ought handle this. Number one, if you are a person that dresses up as a sex and you want everyone to buy into that, you're insane. That's the definition of insanity. You're insane, right? It's a mental condition. I feel bad for you. I don't want to support you in your delusion. I want you to get professional help. I need you to come back to reality and live here with the rest of us as best you can. So I just
got a game we're about to play. We're going to do a game here in a second.
Yeah,
so
just a second.
But no, you're going to finish your speech, and then we're going to do a game. I'm going to tell you what the game is. Y'all ponder this. It's going to be you tell me which person's trans. Okay, that's the game.
Oh, hold on,
easy.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Okay. Hold on. This is
easy.
I'm not done yet, but hold on.
We
can get to the game in a minute. We can get to the game in a minute.
Do we get to hear him speak?
So as far as the
wouldn't matter.
You can always tell when they speak.
As far as the, honestly, I don't care what they look like, Gibbs. They can fool anybody, and if they are able to fool you, being good at cosplay is awesome.
I would never be fooled.
Good, being good at cosplay is awesome, but asking me to deliberately buy into a delusion when I can obviously tell you that you were something you're not is insanity.
Yeah. If
also living is something you're not is insanity. And I really like that guy. The other night, somebody sent me a clip of this guy Jeffree Star, who was making a statement about what's his name.
Definitely a man.
Yeah, definitely, dude. You see this clip of this Jeffree Star guy talking about Charlie Kirk, and he was hammering the trans people about how if they were like happy about it, they were just I mean, he went off on him. He knows that he's a dude. He just likes wearing dresses. You know what? He's crazy. He's insane, but whatever. It's fine. But at least he knows he's a dude. And he's not asking me to call him a woman, right? Like, he's a dude. He's not getting offended because I say dude. Yeah. I've literally been on panels where, like, I've been corrected for calling a dude when the dude was obviously not a dude. I mean,
you're a dude.
Yeah, you're a dude. You got junk swinging down there, bro.
Dudes. For sure. It is funny because I've called girl dudes, but not trans girls. They don't like dudes.
I've heard the argument from the right wing that say that we should embrace people like Jeffree Star because they tell the truth. Even though
I'm not saying embrace him. I just think it's funny.
No,
we just got to stop pretending like all of these issues are 50-50 when the elections are 50-50. That doesn't mean that we're 50-50 on all of these issues, which in reality we are winning on. We are winning 80-20 on a lot of these issues.
Yeah, but I'm saying amongst the right wing, even with Charlie Kirk, I'll admit Charlie Kirk actually does have, like, he did have, at least in 2019, a pro-gay agenda. At the time, Trump was promoted as like the most gay pro-president, ever. Like, that's how they were promoting it. But I'm saying here is that we shouldn't need homosexuals to tell people that homosexuality is, like, based, or that you could still be a conservative with
no,
those
I don't.
values.
I don't. Yeah, I disagree that homosexuality is based. I don't think that that's a thing. I think that.
Yeah, but that's why people like Jeffree Star can be like, oh yeah, he's cool, and he's in reality, but he's not. He's not in reality. He's a gay guy that dresses like a woman.
Bad? What's in there?
But he doesn't. But he's not trying to tell you that he's a girl, and I guess that was my point there. Yeah. But yeah, certainly he's not.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, he's not. Mentally.
I understand that, and you can make the same argument with Blair White, and Blair White is still somebody that I wouldn't welcome into.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who that is, but I kind of have the same
Blair White's the most based tranny of all time.
I kind of have
anyone that we accept. It's Blair.
I kind of have
that's
a,
the MAGA HQ take.
We
If
should kick
there's
that
one
guy
tranny
out.
allowed in
I
MAGA
kind of have the
HQ,
same point as
Blair White,
Andrew
baby.
on the gay issue, right? Like, if that's your thing, have at it. It's a definite, it's a sin. You get to talk to God when you get there, make your amends there. But like most sexuality, I don't want to see it, right? Like I don't even think that. I don't think that
Degenerately over sexual straights. Like that shit's annoying to me.
What's that?
You're just like even being straight and just overly degenerate sexual is like
right.
That's not
Yeah.
what we're
Yeah.
about.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like
people either, but
and gays are degenerate, bro. I've lived with gays. I've lived with gays, bro. I know one that would drive 4 hours every weekend to go get railed by a new guy every weekend. He had to take anti-AIDS medication because that's how much he was.
Oh God!
I'm telling you, they're
Whoa.
openly degenerate.
All
right. Okay, guys, in the group chat. Nobody pull this up on screen, but I've seen a photo of 3 people in the group chat. Nobody pull it up on screen. You tell me which one of those is the trans individual.
All right, hold on. I got to get to my other.
I'm gonna have to remove it. I can't see it without the audience seeing it, bro.
Wait, what?
How are we labeling these? A, B, and C?
Where is it?
Yeah, let's go with
trannies.
I
want to see them.
Black and white top A, green top B.
Gibbs, is that you?
Yeah, and then me with the other person is
where
in the group chat.
I don't know, man.
I don't even know what the group chat is on Discord, bro.
I'm not good with
Gibbs. Did you go blonde? What happened there?
I'm gonna go with B.
Okay, so B.
What's B mean?
So green top is B, black or white top A, and then the person with me in there is C.
Because there was some work done there with B, you can tell.
There's work done on all of them. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
you tell me which one.
Nobody looks good with lip filler. Nobody. It looks so retarded.
Hey, listen.
I don't know why they do this. It's so ugly. It's like literally.
Pick which one, A, B, or C? Who you got? Who's the one?
You look injured.
I should seriously
I am injured. I just got out of a car wreck.
All right.
That's
okay.
true.
A, B, C. These are all different people. These are different people.
Yes.
Okay. A.
Damn, I'm way.
A is the most sus. There's like filters and stuff. What is this?
Mm-hmm.
So wait, A is the one in the green.
No, A is the one in black and white. B is
green.
Right, C is the one with me. Well, don't pull them up on screen here. Let's try not to do that.
Why can't chat see?
Well, I don't want my people watch because I have people that watch my
that's
channel.
That's the only way I could see it here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit here and get yelled at about this later. Now, thanks, Pentuple.
Yeah,
A could be real. B, I don't think is real. C, I can't. Hang on.
Yeah, it's the fact that y'all are sitting here having to figure this out this hard means that
if
you're spending money.
That doesn't prove a damn thing.
What does it matter, though?
I'm just pointing out.
That doesn't prove a damn thing.
The point was y'all said they could always tell, and I just wanted to prove.
No, I didn't. Nobody said they could always tell.
Who said that? Who
said that?
B is a woman. I think these are all women.
Say that.
Pentuple.
I think these are all women.
Oh, Pentuple. Okay.
Am I right?
No.
Fuck. Well, that just makes it even more serious of a problem.
That makes it even more scary. You go to a bar and that chick could have a dick. Like that's even scarier. What the fuck are we living in here?
Don't go pick up women at bars.
Anyway, moving on. I just wanted to. God damn it, bro.
Okay, is that a dude or a girl? Go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, tell me.
Is this a dude? That's a dude. That is a dude. That's a woman?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. What about this one?
That is also a woman.
And what about this one?
The third one?
They're all women.
Tranny. They're all women. I told you.
The only trans is the one that you're with.
Yeah, none of them.
No, none of them are. None of them are trans. None of them are trans.
Oh, okay.
You're not lying.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of them a trans woman.
Yeah, see what I'm doing here? All right, we're moving on. And now that I'm going to get yelled at in person about this, that's fine. All right, so thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Now I'm going to have a head bounty on my head. If I die, we're going to blame political violence now.
There you go.
Anyway, moving
it's
on.
Going to be on the right side. It's going to be on the right side.
It's going to be on the right side. Yeah, they're going to be like...
Yeah, so hold on. Let me jump in because Fairy Queen's going off in the chat about something I was about to talk about as well. It's the Dem outrage machine churns out anger on a daily basis. Every day we have a new story of why Trump is bad, Trump is evil. Most of these fucking stories there was like a benign action or he said something they didn't like.
That's why
it's good things that he did. And
That's why it's terminally online. That's
on.
why I was saying earlier, these people have to be terminally online because otherwise you can't keep up with all of this bullshit.
Because we just had a court release of like 70-something page documents of the
Nobody
Biden
offline gave a fuck about Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, they were pressuring YouTube to remove speech they didn't agree with. And on top of that, they were doing the same to Twitter. They were doing that shit to Facebook. They were actually going in and pressuring them to remove people's fucking free speech. Where Trump's administration just threatened to do it, we're supposed to hold our hands up appalled. It's the same thing Pentuple's saying. Like, it's hand waved off when the actual egregious thing happens from their side. And then as soon as the other side does it, it's like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever.
Well, Tyler, remember Douglas Mackey? You remember the Douglas Mackey case? I don't know if you guys remember during the 2020 election. He did with Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry, 2016. He did a meme where it says you could text your vote in for Hillary Clinton, for the Democrats, etc. Trump won, but right when Biden got into office, they prosecuted that guy for election interference and put him in jail. I don't know if you guys remember that case.
So, I mean, that brings up something interesting. Okay, I this is kind of where I I think that I think Pentuple's right about maybe at some point excluding these people completely, but I think that it's too soon, right? And this is why.
No, it's too late. You dumbass.
Hear me out. I think that what we should be doing right now is fighting them fire with fire. Like, they've been doing this stochastic terrorism. Okay, you don't like being called this? Okay, fine. Let's call you exactly what you've called me, and accept it's accurate. If I call someone a Nazi, it's because either A, they're a white supremacist, like Connor, or B, they're a fucking person that's actually pushing like not national socialist policies.
Nobody's Nazis, bro. These people don't know what history even is.
Well, sure, but hold on. But the Democratic Socialist does have the same policies as the National Socialist policy on a lot of things.
Yeah, you can call them a Nazi.
So yeah, sure, but the point I'm making is if you call them the same things they call you, either it's going to ratchet things up, and then to a point where there's no turning back, or it's going to cause them to go, oh shit, I don't like this. Maybe we do need to tone it back.
It's not going to do that. They're willing to. They want you dead, Gibbs. There's no way they're going to be like, oh, you're calling me a Nazi? Okay, fine. But no, they're going to double down. And these people want you dead, Gibbs. Like, that's really what
they're terminally online. It's the only place they exist. It's the only, this is not a 50-50 country anymore. Just because elections are between the parties close to 50-50, which is honestly suspect. Like, when I think about the founding fathers saying we shouldn't have political parties, it makes sense. Like, we have two people promising completely different things. Like, the fact that it's 50-50 suggests to me that there's something afoot here. We're not supposed to be 50-50 on things as basic as the Second Amendment. And we're not. I believe that we're not.
What the fuck's going on here? Yeah.
It's just like we don't have to keep like, oh, well, if we don't have them, then who are we going to debate? We can have these debates. There's things that we all four could all easily debate. But when you have a leftist there, you know what they're going to say. There's no value in having these people at the table.
The only value is
we're never going to progress past banging their head in the wall and saying it's not an insurrection. You don't know what an insurrection would actually look like. It would take one person with a gun behind Gibbs or behind Grid right now to pull off infinitely more fucking damage than January 6th. They lie about cops dying on January 6th. They lie about fucking everything. Fuck these people.
We all agree with that.
But it's not. Hold on, before y'all go further. Let's y'all can finish. I know you and Jake want to say something, so Grid, you can go, then Jake. But then what I want to do after that, and y'all can actually do this in that. I want to move away from like kind of what we've been doing a little bit of is talking about what they've done and and let's talk about what strategy we should be doing going forward. Let's talk about that.
Right. So, I mean, so here's the thing. I disagree with Pentuple that there's no use in having debates with them anymore. I think that it actually. I want to step it up. I think we should be debating them every fucking day. I think that we need to keep the pressure on and keep making them look like fucking idiots, like literal idiots. When Wick has to go and lie to his audience about how he did, that's a fucking win. And he needs to do it every day. Right? Like,
but he's going to keep doing that.
How many people are really converting?
Ryan, the radical coder, can't even get on a panel because people pay to kick his ass off because they're so tired of hearing his shit. That's a win, bro. It's a win. And we got to just keep the wins up, because what happens is we say, well, we won. We don't need to engage with these fuckers anymore. They will actually actually they will go out and
we need to have the debate, though, that is, how do we get rid of the illegals? If we don't get past, should we let in infinite illegals forever? Of course, we're never going to get to where we need to be, which is debating, how do we solve the problem? How do we actually implement our side of this? Because we've won, we're winning. They've done the same to us, and they would do the same thing if they were winning, but they're not. They're not winning, and they're not going to win. And their only hope now at this point is historical trends. They just hope that the pendulum swings back, and it's not going to.
Pen, I'll tell you this. The pendulum is swinging towards our side. And I'll tell you this. The left
it's on our side.
That's what I'm saying. It's swinging towards our side, especially the last 10 years. But I'll tell you this. The culture war was won back in like 1960s, 1970s to the left, okay? Even if you look at heavy metal music, art, Hollywood, etc., a lot of it is left-leaning content. Always been left-leaning. Now all of a sudden, because they swung too far left, and now all of a sudden men can be women, and they want to chop off the genitals of children, now it's swinging back towards our side. I think we need to push more propaganda to get more young people, especially Gen Z, into those arts, into the liberal arts, and push more of the agenda of like nuclear families. That's what we need to infiltrate.
That's why I got into liberal arts.
Is media. We need to infiltrate the media. Yes, and we need to do that through the youth. Like, we can't do it right now. We're all in our 30s.
Well, the only conservatives that have
what
done
you
that
want is to provide more of this media. We can't let them be our collaborators.
I agree.
Well, I think
we weren't their collaborators.
Well, I think the colleges is maybe the first step.
And that's a big one.
This is why Obama, when I listened to Obama, he was talking about deporting illegals. I don't know that all of this leftist bullshit that we're talking about right now existed even 20 years ago.
No, yeah, it did.
Anti-illegals.
Well, I don't know, Pitt. I went to Texas A&M, and Texas A&M is one of the most conservative colleges in the nation. In fact, they just fired their president because one of the professors said some liberal bullshit, and it was kind of outrageous.
Good,
and the video was wild, and they fired the president. The president had to step down, and he fired the person the day after it came out. Right? He wasn't dicking around. Like, well, the fact that this was even allowed to happen at A&M, whatever, and even at A&M. It was very center left. However, there was one group of conservatives trying to get into the liberal arts, and it's one group I don't want. You know what group it was? The libertarians, specifically the ANCAPs, right? And so, you go into one professor, and there's center left or moderate, and then I don't know where he's at. And then it's, and I wish he was here for this. Then it's like an extreme ANCAP and Capistan, and I'm like, listen, I know that I sound like I agree with you, but that's just because I'm a Texas nationalist, right? I don't actually agree with you, right? Like, it's guns, God, and freedom, bro. Well, you got whatever you got going on. And I think that we need to get these conservatives back in, because what a lot of us have done is, and I'm not saying this about me because I did the liberal arts thing, but a lot of them have gone into trade schools, which is good. A lot of them have gone into business degrees, which the business at Mays Business School, extremely at A&M is extremely right wing, right? And they go and they give back and they give donors to these schools, but then they're not involved in the education, right? And we need to get these people to come back into academia. So maybe we need to raise pay on some of these guys. I don't know what the answer is, but I think we got to get back into academia.
Gibbs, there's a reason why they went after Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was infiltrating academia.
That's why.
Charlie Kirk was the one. Right. He was infiltrating that shit. He was a big threat to that because a lot of the young kids are liberal. All the professors are liberal. This is why Charlie Kirk was so effective in academia. And I think we need to infiltrate that as well. We need to infiltrate the academia and the liberal arts. We need to take back the liberal arts as well.
Let's go a little beyond
50 years ago, we need to take it back.
Right. What's wrong? I agree with all of that. However, let's take a look at something else here, right? So when people talk, especially people in the middle start talking about the right, you're hearing that, well, the right is getting upset because Marvel changed the color of a hero's skin or made a man a woman or whatever, and they make it seem like that the right is being petty about this. They downplay it, and then when we come back with, well, why is it important to change that character? Why are you doing it in the first place? Like, us asking the question why is not the whining and crying. It's the it's a legit question. Why are you doing this? You telling us that we're whining and crying is literally you whining and crying. And those are the debates that have to continue to be won. We have to go out and because that's how the left is able to give these
these youth
and give these middle of the roaders some teeth to lock onto the leftist side is the right's just whining and crying and bullshit.
You're absolutely right, Grid. Like
Yes.
I had Danny Fortuna on here not too long. He got a good shouting match with FQ, and it was pretty interesting though, because I've had him on several times, and he's this gay Italian man from Italy. Well, he's gay Italian. There you go. That's what he is, right? And he's like very passionate that he hates like the fact that they infiltrate the media, right? And they come in and they really push like something, or they come in these spaces like 40K, which is like not inherently right, but they want to change the lore in order to get more people onto their stuff, right? And it's like, why? And like I talked to him, I was like, what about this character? He's like, well, that character's not bad. I'm like, it's not even that we care about like to change the characters. I'll use a really well-known one, right? People bitched about changing Samuel Jackson's character, Nick Fury, to like a black person with Samuel Jackson. But then he played the character and was like, oh shit, this is pretty good.
Yeah,
right?
Like
if you
bad, right?
you have good writing and like a good character.
Yes.
Nobody gives a shit. But if you go and change something fundamental, like, I don't know, like changing Magneto to a black person when his story is that he's a Jew that was like survived the Holocaust and got it, like that's fundamental to that story, right? You can't, like, that's a big part, but they don't care because they want to, and for lack of a better term, whitewash history to their version so that they can just push this narrative. But let's go, Tyler, you were waiting there.
Okay, so you guys were talking about schools. We need to fix the academia. We need to fix these higher education areas for higher learning, and nobody ever really digs into that. So I want to kind of, reveal a little bit of my Israel argument and go to that trope that Israel controls blah, blah, blah with all their money. So if we look at actually what happened is Qatar donated about $100 billion over the last 10 to 15 years. What they've been doing is
Qatar.
Yeah, weapons manufacturers, news media, colleges, and into our political system. They're outpacing the best year APEC has ever donated in a political cycle by times 10 a year, every year consistently. They are taking this over. What they do on college campuses is, you remember Trump's $600,000 plane? They have 3 of those sitting on each campus, and they're teaching Middle Eastern studies that Qatar approved. Qatar is also the second largest funder to Hamas. Yeah, and they're teaching. That's where this giant and anti-Palestine
communism as well. They're teaching the communists to these students.
Yeah,
this is why they're like gays with Palestine and contradicts it. They're turning them into these.
It's not only it's linked to Qatar, it's linked to Iran. 2 days after October 7th happened, there was tent cities popping up all over campuses with one universal message. It was all linked together. It was a giant effort by Qatar to control our education on our campuses for the last 10 years.
And mind you, Tyler, they already did that in the UK. They've already infiltrated the UK to that degree.
Well,
they're trying to the other thing.
Hold on. Before we go to climate change, I want to talk about the Qatar thing real quick. This is actually worse than you're saying. Right, and this actually goes to something Penn and I have talked about a long time ago, which is the Uniparty, right? And I don't know if y'all know this. Y'all know who Bush Sr. was, the president, right? What was his job before he was president? He was head of the CIA, right? CIA director. Okay. Well, guess where his presidential library is? Texas A&M. You know what other school in Texas has a presidential library? UT, University of Texas, right? 2 biggest schools. Both of those schools have direct partnerships with Qatar, where they have satellite schools where they send their kids for advanced programs for 6 weeks. So you can go over there and get stuff, specifically in the liberal arts and anything attached to the Corps Cadets, which is the military and which is liberal arts, etc. Right. So you have political and military training that you go and you get like education stuff over there for 6 weeks or some of this exchange. Then here's another cool thing. Guess who another A&M president was? Oh, Robert Gates. What was he? He was the head of the CIA. So it's almost like you have a CIA-funded academic program that's sitting here getting in bed with Qatar, and then they're coming over here like doing all the things you're saying. It really starts looking real sus. I don't know. I mean, Tyler, go on with your second point here, but I want to mention that because that's kind of interesting. There's my conspiracy theory. The second point
is I use this a lot when Tim Pool got found out that some Russian channel, Tenant Media, that was like people from RT were renting, like they were leasing one of his shows to rerun on their network to get viewers. They were saying that Tim Pool was funded, and look how much money he's making. I would come out with showing tens of millions of dollars. Right now, I think it's either China or Russia are the #1 donators of climate change activism in the UK.
I saw that.
And they're in the top 5. Both of them are in the top 5 in the United States. They are. It doesn't go to like biologists to help climate change, or it doesn't go to anything to help technology. It goes to activists to go out and stoke the fucking flame.
Yep.
And like whenever you bring this up to somebody about they talk about Russian propaganda, I love bringing this up to Dylan Burns. Talks about Russian propaganda and blah blah blah, the right wing, even though that's been pretty much completely disproven as a Democrat lie at this point.
When we talk about things like tenant media, though, I mean, you have to really understand that there was never any strings tied to any of that, according to anybody that was part of it. The whole reason that that they went after it was they were winning a ground fight on campuses, college campuses, especially with people like Lauren Chen going out there and talking to people, Tim Pool, all of these people, and they needed that. They needed to slow down the conservative YouTube alternative media, whatever you want to call it. Media, by the way, was in Nashville. It wasn't far from me.
Well, let me ask you something, because I find this interesting, because on the right, we're definitely like much less organized than when it comes to our social media. We're much more grassroots, right?
Yeah.
So on the left, right, like, okay, I'm anti-Russia. I don't like Russia. I'm like, I'm not a friend of Russia. I think they're evil. I think if they're not, they're an adversarial power. Long live the American empire. I think China's the same way. Iran, there's perennial powers. Europe's basically our bitch right now, so whatever. But when I'm sitting here, I go, okay, I don't like Russia. And I don't give a shit that if Russia spent money over here and someone that's a Republican may or may not have got paid through a company, right? I don't care. They probably already believe those talking points anyway. I'm just like, I don't give a shit if the left is over here paying, Wick and Prime and, 50 other streamers, whatever. Hold on. Let me just, because this is my question here, right? So I'm sitting here going, well, what do we do on the right? Do we go after them for this?
We don't do,
or do we form our own groups? Because I know I agree when we see NGOs are doing this, that problem. But when it's private companies, do we make our own and start making our own media groups? All
right, so let me answer that. I will answer that because I will answer that because I put a lot of time and effort into thinking about this. So first of all, I don't care that a couple of Russians who were doing business here were, wanting to support some channels. I don't care, right? As long as there were no strings attached, they weren't asking for specific messages to be played or anything like that. It was just, hey, we want to support your show. And maybe they were making money off of it, rebroadcasting it overseas and putting it into a different language. Who knows? I don't give a fuck. I don't care anything about that. And the fact that the fact that the feds dropped it like a rock shows that there was nothing there to start with. But what bothers me, and I think that's a huge difference between what Tenant Media did and what Progressive Victory, which is now something else, which is going to be something else, down the road, which is literally U.S. government funded, right? Those are our tax dollars, mixed with legit donations that are provided to content creators with strings attached that say you have to support this candidate, you have to talk, you cannot talk about this, you need to talk about that. There's strings attached to that. There's a narrative that has to be said. And you got people like Connor, who's a part of that, who denies that he's part of it, who says, yeah, I took the money, but I didn't, they was never required to say anything. And yet obviously he was. I mean, whatever. I have a real problem with that because, that is kind of, it's shady, right? I would have a lot.
If you that's the thing of difference. If I was sponsored, I'd put Papa thing and I'd be yelling every day.
Yeah.
Right.
So Papa.
Right. And this is where I'm going with this, right? I've said for the last year, I'm sure Jake will back me up on this. He's been around when I've said it. My goal with my channel to start out with prior to the election was in the midterms, I want to get paid by a Republican PAC.
Yes.
I would rather my chat never have to send me another super chat. And
that's a good question. Why did y'all start streaming here? Because I started, I moved to politics. I already had a thing. I probably could go back to Halo after my band was up, right?
Sure.
But my thing was, oh, I'm going to move to start doing politics because one, I know I can public speak, I can debate, right? Two, like what, like I need to talk politics because I have real fucking issues that are happening that no one gives a shit about, right? And like that's why I started, right? I don't give a shit if I get paid. I made enough money to like do this without getting paid. If I do get paid, great. But like they're not going to be able to buy me unless it's an substantial amount, right? And so I'm not saying there's not an amount. That right, but there is an amount. But it's like you for 99%.
Well, so I got into streaming specifically to talk to people and help people, and especially kind of men's rights or men's advocacy, and then that kind of morphed into doing like current events and news, and then the election was happening, and I got behind that, and I became a little bit more political. I was always political, but I became even more political, and then. And I've said, again, I'll repeat that I would much rather, I will take money from a PAC with no problem. I will sleep like a baby. And it would be easier for me to do that than to grift my chat every week for donations. Like I would much rather have that happen. And so I'm going to say the same shit anyway. Like,
so I don't
want to say anything different, right? Like
I'm literally running my first subathon ever to like this month. And it's more of like for like jokes and lulls than it is for like the money. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Gibbs, what's actually wrong with us actually like the right wing actually getting their own NGOs? And
I don't know if there's anything wrong.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you. If you're saying like I don't want to take money and I don't care about money being,
I didn't say that. No, I would love a check. No, but I'm saying there'd be a big check.
So what would be wrong taking the left's blueprints and using it for our own benefit?
I guess that's what I'm asking.
Our politicians elected. I would say let's do it. I don't think.
Well, no. So here's
that's what Grid's saying. Grid would love to take that paycheck because I think we should strive for that.
Yeah, but my question is this, right? What worked for the Republicans and the reason why we're here now is because people like Charlie Kirk, people like us, like Charlie
was funded.
Right? Right, not when he started though. He was grassroots talking about the issue, and then he got in with the people he cared about, right?
No, Charlie's parents were still in bed with Trump even prior before his rise.
Maybe, but I mean, I know. Okay, I guess I'll speak for myself, but I'm going to guess with Grid.
Like Charlie wasn't just some random guy.
Sure, but like, let me like, I think the most Republicans though, like a lot of us have gotten into this for the grassroots. I think Republicans got on the grassroots level, and Charlie adopted the grassroots method. Maybe he was funded or whatever, but like most of the streamers, like people like. I mean, all of us are a little bit older, right? Like Grid's established. He's got the money to like dick off and waste time in the evenings, right? I have the money to waste time in the evenings. Penn here, he's like, a lawyer. He's established. Like you're older. Like Tyler's older. We're able to come and talk about this. We're able to talk the issues. So like, if we were to get paid, it would have to be A, for what we're going to already say anyway, or B, it's going to have to be a substantial amount to go against something we like to the point it would offset our other shit. And then we would just say that. The reason I switched sides is because it's a massive check.
There was a there was a local election here, and they were like, hey, we want you to, you've got a show. We may want to do something local, maybe bring out, I would go out to some churches and stuff and talk to people. But I couldn't say certain things. There was like things I couldn't talk about. Now, this is all local, right? So this isn't national or anything. And it wasn't a lot of money, but I'm like, no, that's not how that works. If you want to pay me, great, I'll take your money. But I'm going to say what I'm going to say, right? Like that's just the way it is. And that's one of the reasons I think that's one of the things that I would have to differentiate, right? Like I'm not going to just say shit that I don't believe in. I'm not going to lie to my audience. I'm not going to.
Yeah. Don't lie. That's not what I'm saying.
Right. And that's what and that's one of the reasons why, like, I still like Tim Pool. I don't watch it very often, but I still like the guy because he was like, I said what I was going to say. Right. And he was and everybody was like, well, he had this anti-Ukraine stance. He was like, no, I long before I heard of Tenet Media, I had that stance. Like I didn't say anything I wouldn't normally say. And they never told him what to say. But now what you have with like Progressive Victory is the exact opposite. You have basically people writing your script and telling you what to say and what to cover and what issues to avoid and what issues to
that's where I wanted to go with this.
And
before you go,
when you have Destiny come out and condemn one thing while completely ignoring another, that it's not because he just doesn't care about the other issue. It's because he just can't talk about it.
Well, you bring up something interesting that I was going to bring this up right before, but you just beat me to it. Right? Is that this is the thing I was kind of saying to Jake just now, is that I think the grassroots is almost an advantage. Right? It's like a shotgun. Right? If I'm hitting birds, I don't want to be shooting with a rifle. Right? I want to hit them with a shotgun because it spreads further. Right? And you have 50 different points they have to defend against all. Versus, tell me if this has happened to y'all. Is you watch one debate on Monday or Tuesday, and by Friday, we're on the primetime shows, every point that these people are going to make because they're all saying the same 5 points, right? And so, they have to defend against 50 different points because Pan and I, we're saying that we're both like, hey, we like all this shit, and we're not even saying the same strategy. You and I are saying kind of similar. Jake's saying something it's like they don't know what to hit. I feel like it's almost an advantage. But Tyler, you had something you want to add here.
Okay, so I want to jump into the Dem strategy thing you guys want to emulate. Why the fuck would you emulate the losing
That's good. That's a good question.
Yeah, well, not only that, we're asking why we don't get represented in art and stuff, but it's like there's a reason there's no right-wing Jimmy Kimmel. It's funded by ABC. They're not going there's a reason Tom McDonald is forever independent. These artists that we have on our side, they don't get pushed on Spotify. He's independent because he sucks. Them. That's why it's all corporate. It's all. I mean, it's just whether it's industry plant. I'm not saying they have no talent at all, but it's like the industry does choose its winners. If you're a rapper and they put you on the front page of Spotify, you're going to get more plays than anyone else. That's just how it works. That's how the system works. Hold on, and we're not going to. We either going to build those platforms ourselves because we're not going to get a right wing Jimmy Kimmel. We're not.
And look,
we got Joe Rogan. Hold on, let Tyler go.
It's only been the past 10 years that the left has been losing. Okay,
I know, but
all the history prior before that, they've been winning. This is why we need to take that strategy because they've gone too far.
Flipped from leftists to right wingers in the last 4 years. It's not working out for them. We saw Destiny go and New York Times, or it was Hassan was the New York Times, Destiny was CNN. A week later, both of them said something fucking gross in the party. Hold on. Let me finish. I got 3 sentences. So Mike's touch right now is pushing Connor and Adam Mockler. Connor is embarrassing himself every time he speaks. Adam Mockler, that dude was one of the people I debated against on a WIC panel. All he does is goes to Trump rallies and ambushes old people with a bunch of pop quiz questions, and then he films and cuts out the one time they fuck up. This kid is an idiot. I debated him. I crushed him. He didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. He's some low info, and he's going on CNN. He's going on Mark Halperin show and shit like that, representing the left wing. Let them talk. All they have to do is let them talk, and they lose. Just leave them alone.
I agree with you, Tyler. I agree with you, but here's the thing: we can emulate to some degree that behavior because we would say it anyway. Guys like Connor literally is cucking himself for a paycheck. Right? I wouldn't do that. I would not take the pay. I would be like, no, keep your money. I don't need it. But that's the difference. And we can emulate that. And it did work for them, right? It did bring people to their side to some degree because everybody's like, oh, Destiny's so great. Destiny goes live and I don't know that he has, real 10,000 viewers, but I mean, I think
he's got a lot of people hate watching. That's for sure.
He's got some hate watchers, and I think he's bought it up pretty good. But I don't know, man. I think that
these people exist online. They're all terminally online. I won't be convinced.
Right. I think that there's using the Democrat. Well, it's not even using the political strategy of having supported people that are going to say what they're going to say anyway, sponsored people, if you will. I think that that's something that most of us should aspire to, right? But the difference is we would do it anyway. If you turned off Destiny's revenue stream, if you turn off Destiny's revenue stream tomorrow, he would quit streaming within 3 months.
I mean,
actually, I think he already got demonetized on YouTube. So he's probably losing about $40K a month.
Well, he doesn't. He doesn't care about
a lot
YouTube.
Of this stuff is just
the problem is. So
I think it will naturally flip in our favor as the financial structures, like we saw with the Bud Light boycott. There will become a point where the financial incentive is to not be woke and retarded.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's happening with Twitch now, right? You were seeing the shift in the moderation. We're seeing YouTube reinstate channels. I mean, and this is a pro and a con, right? Part of the benefit, if you watch Kick, if their overall political leaning is definitely right? But the problem is, then they have people like Destiny who are going to go on there, and yeah, every time they get forced off a platform like YouTube or Twitch, what they do is they post less there, and then they post enough to keep people interested, right? But then they force them to their main platform, which is Kick, where they're getting a 70% revenue share. So in the long run, they're making bigger money, right? That's the con. That's why he's willing. Hold on, but that's why he's willing to be edgy, because the whole point of Kick right now is to be the Wild West of free speech. Like, I could go over there and I could say anything almost, and I'm not going to get banned. And Kick will be like, hey, we don't care if we get bad negative reviews, because all Kick is basically a pipeline to stake. And like, you know, and I'm not bashing it, because a lot of right-leaners are right-leaning guys benefiting, right? But at the same time, you know, you're not going to get rid of the cancer whenever they have something like that they can run to.
Yeah, but I mean, so let me add to that a little bit. So when Desi doesn't care about YouTube because of Kick, obviously that's what he just covered that pretty well. But even beyond that, look at what happened back.
I think he wanted to get banned off YouTube. Honestly, I think that's why.
Right.
His reach goes less.
He got kicked off of X and YouTube.
Maybe.
But it's a funnel to his money. And I think he's money motivated.
I'm not disagreeing that he's going to be a hobo, but I am saying that his reach just drastically goes down if
it doesn't.
Banned off.
No. They just go. They know he's on Kick. His reach doesn't go down at all.
He's already.
If anything, it might actually.
I'm saying new people to establish himself to new people. This is why he goes on Piers Morgan. This is why he goes on these shows. But
no, because it's going to increase Kick's reach, and then this is a whole different debate right here. I mean, honestly,
let's not get bogged down by this. The reality is that look at a year and a half ago or 2 years ago when he Destiny got kicked off of YouTube and Twitter, right? X, and or he got timed out or whatever the fuck it was. And when he did that, he just went over. He just stayed on Kick and he didn't lose a drop of revenue. And within a couple of weeks, he was right back on X. It didn't nothing.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess the reason I'm asking, like I think that Jake's got a point here with like the copy the strategy. It's worked for 40 years, but it's lost. I think that they haven't adapted to the new stuff. So my thing is, I do want us to get more organized. Right. But I don't know if I want to like have these one overarching thing like that. Like, I think the power of like the movement right now is that it is grassroots. And it's like, we're getting like together. We're getting organized. We're finally working with other conservatives. We're hosting shows. We're doing stuff together. But like, I don't know that I want this uniform talking point thing, except for maybe like when we need one key issue pushed and then we agree on it and then we push it. Like, I feel like that might be a better method as opposed to all of us pushing the same
I like
shit.
Where your head's at. Let me take it one step further. So one of the things that I talked about last year during the Trump election is the right-leaning channels that I was friendly with. We didn't stream at the same time, and we actually would end one stream and then just
like
into the other streams. And even though we didn't talk about the same things, it was the same basic message. Right.
I mean, that's the strategy of a lot of things.
Like 24 hours a day. We had 24 hours a day covered pretty much with content that
that's what the Cute House does. The Cute House does that. They like whenever one of them is off, they go to the next person, the 3 a.m. person. Like,
well, Rumble's doing the same thing right now. Like they have like a schedule of like content creators that they raid from one to the other.
This is certainly what I was just going to get one point out because I wrote it down here.
Please.
And this is actually one of the flaws of a democratic system, and I think is a concern for the Democrats who have been hanging on barely at this 50-50 election system, is that there are a large number of people who simply choose the winning side. They don't go through all of this stressful internal debate. There's a lot of people that just pick the side that they think is winning, and they go with it. And as we continue to win, there's going to be more and more people that abandon this left wokist bullshit because it's not the prevailing narrative anymore. And I mean, it's one of the reasons that we're not a democracy, which is again and to the democracy for which it's I don't know how people could still not understand.
And honestly, I'm putting something in the back chat. Right, I don't know if that
principle is going to fuck over the left very soon.
So there's I just put something in the back chat. If you think we're really winning,
take another training.
Yeah, take a look. No, it's not another. No, I don't. I'm not Gibbs.
Unknown.
I
don't have access to
this one's definitely a trend.
I'm a happily married man.
Yeah, I let my transmissions automatic.
Yeah, it just says unknown grid. I don't know why it won't show it. I don't know why.
I just posted something real quick that again, like
it opened for me. Let me try again.
Have either left the Democrats or joined the Republicans in the last 4 years, and they're bleeding out voters right now. This is the first time in 100 years that Democrats are less like a smaller party than the Republicans. If you include all the swing voters that link, like you want to stick to the strategy you've been doing. You don't want to take their losing strategy away from them. Like stick to what you're doing. People, as much as Trump like says things that aren't true, people still have that aura of authenticity because he just kind of speaks, and it's not canned. It's not scripted because half of it's like, what the fuck? So
the scripted thing is a big problem for them. I really think that that's been hurting them. I think that it's twofold. I think the scripting works whenever it's focused. Like, say we all got on the same thing. Like, we're all I don't know, I'll pick one then. The border. We all were like, yeah, we can all agree we need the greatest border wall in the world. We all go and hammer that one point, and we hammer the same stats. That would be good. But I think that the fact that we aren't like a united thing, we all have different agendas, I think is good because it forces an attack. And we're all authentic, right? We all believe this thing. Versus with them, like, I think this week has really done it. All week they bitched about censorship and Jimmy Kimmel. And then the House Judiciary Committee 2 days ago released all that info about how they were pressuring people. And they just like, you had this manufactured message that was believable and people were on your side, and now people are just like, you lied again. Like, I don't know. I think that, go ahead, Ben.
Go ahead, everyone. I just these people aren't serious, and anybody who's like stuck in the waters here, like looking around, they have to be new. Like the only way you can not understand if picked a side is because you just got here. It's not because like, oh, I just 5 years in still haven't decided whether that was an insurrection or not.
Why do you think they moved into schools, Pentuple?
Huh?
Why do you think they moved into schools and go after young people?
Because they can vote. That's why.
Because of what you just said.
Yeah.
Like that's how they catch people. They catch you young. I was a Democrat voter.
I don't think they're. I'm not in Pentuples.
I was like the only Republican growing up. If I like, what I'm saying. I remember like everybody would fight me, or they just didn't give a shit. Like,
I mean, I'm not quite in Pentuples camp. I don't think that we can rest. I don't think that we can say, hey, we won. I think that we have to keep doing the same things that we're doing, and I do think that the left is really hurting, but you have to remember, man, they don't go after full-grown adults. They go after youths, right? They go after dummies. They go after people that want shit for them as well,
right?
They create their own voters by simply keeping people in poverty, and it's been shown over and over again. And you can't. That's hard to fight. That's hard to fight. And so we got to keep fighting. We got to keep it. We got to beat them down, man.
Yeah, and we do have to develop a plan. And I do think that we need to infiltrate those organizations. Academia.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with bringing the debate, especially to these people who are new to the party, which would be the young people, which would be these up and coming students and stuff like that.
I think those are the ones that need to be debated. This is what Charlie
was
doing.
But at the same time, we need to. If we're like, what are we going to do? What we need to do is go to our representatives and say, actually pass the bills that represent what we want. Actually deport these people, actually implement the side of our debate that we can. Like, we need to get to it. And here's the thing, like, as far as the election thing, like, we need to get to that point probably where we have 60 Republican senators, where we actually get to that point where we say it doesn't really matter what the Democrats think, because it's actually what the Republicans are going to do that matters. And then people are going to naturally pay attention to us. And a lot of people just go along with whatever is the prevailing narrative. And if we become that prevailing narrative, a lot of it's not going to be as effective on the youth anymore. They're not going to feel like, oh, we're fighting the good fight. They're going to realize, those people are fucking retarded.
Real quick. All right. So I've been paid to read this tweet. And all right, we're going to read it. This is from Fairy Queen. And she's talking about the wokeness in college because she's a professor. So, I mean, I think she disagrees with what we're saying about like college being the issue. So I'm going to read this tweet, and we can go from there. I was in college when wokeness took off, and far from being a top-down imposition of the faculty of students. It was students who spent their entire adolescence on the internet threatening the faculty in order to impose their own work hermeneutic on the I can't even talk to their subject matter, never the other way around. It wasn't teachers going, hey, we're not going to be reading Shakespeare because it's white patriarchy, blah, blah. It was students who said, I won't read Shakespeare because he's white patriarchy, blah, blah. And they're threatening to go to the university administration if they didn't get their way. This idea that anyone is radicalized in college is such an old fucking idea. The reality of today is that schools don't contribute anything to the way people form their identities and notions. All of this is on the internet. Kids in school are just physically in school, but spiritually they're online the entire day. Your school's not your alma mater. It's the place in the discourse you can have your teacher.
Literally the most retarded thing I've ever heard. When I was in college in 2015, my Spanish teacher spent our entire culture segment of the class ripping on Trump's promise to build a wall.
No,
This isn't student driven. What the fuck?
No,
what is the evidence for this? A fucking tweet?
I'll give you another example.
Why we don't have leftists on the panel? Gibbs, you're bringing leftists.
She's not a leftist. She's like center right. But I want to say one thing, and then I'll give you the Jake here. I had to for law school when I started. Before we even took a class, we read this book called Evicted, and then we had what I'll call a group therapy section. Well, I was the only Republican in the room, and they basically all were sitting here like saying evil landlords because Consuela went and bought fucking heroin and meth and didn't spend her money that she got from the government on her rent. And it's like, yeah, and they're saying this is the systemic oppression and all this shit. I'm like, that's not coming from the right. That's not coming from the students. This was the professors teaching this. Like, I can think of in A&M, they had a program at the time that was like a gender studies, program for acceptance for all. And we were supposed to be going into the school, and they were giving scholarships for this and like teaching tolerance and diversity. This is something that I went into for the scholarship to see it, and it was a leftist ran scholarship org that was sponsored in the campus. Nah, I disagree. Jake, go ahead.
Tyler, get your polls out. Where are the polls on teachers?
Let's go.
Let Jake go here. I cut Jake off.
Retarded argument I've ever heard. Like the students are leading the class agenda.
I disagree with Eric with that one, but that's fine.
No. I was gonna say that's the stupidest shit. That's the stupidest fucking tweet I've ever fucking heard in my life.
This is the type of thing that people just hear and then they believe it. And it's like, did you ask a single follow-up question? Like, how? But
the crazy part is that she's blaming the students for redirecting academia. That is fucking dumb, okay? You can even go back to the Jordan Peterson situation. The reason why Jordan Peterson got so big was because he didn't want to use pronouns. This was back in 2016 or so when that pronoun shit was fucking launching out, is because this was an ongoing thing even during the Barack Obama administration. Okay, it was gaining a lot of traction here. The argument that she's saying that the students were the one doing that, if you look at the professors, it's like 95% liberal professors in academia, in universities. Okay, they're the ones teaching the rhetoric and teaching the persona of liberalism in college campuses. It's stupidity to blame it on kids. Okay, they're the ones that are.
I think I think there are student elements that help drive policy and I mean I can agree to some extent, but I think mostly I think Pentuple and Gibbs are right that the teachers are just they have agendas because they can't get another job. They're teachers. They're mad.
That is literally part of this. I hate to say this, but
I'll say it out loud.
The people that I grew up with, the ones that became teachers, are the least impressive among us. Unfortunately, that is true. They chose this because they wanted to go to college. Education is an easy degree to get, and they go and become teachers. And these are not people that I would sit and listen to. I don't know why I would want my kids sitting and listening to
Not only that, Penn. Not only that, I've met.
We have to triple the salary of the teachers and fire all of them, and then rehire actual people.
I've met a lot of individuals that say they want to go into academia. They want to be teachers because the summertime they get 3 months off. For a whole year, right? During the year, I can decide to get 3 months off in the summertime.
Get every weekend off too, baby.
And then weekends off, etc. Yeah, and then they want more pay for what they're getting. They're not even actually teaching these children enough. Like the grades are fucking horrible. They're doing it for the.
Yeah, I was just actually before I came into this panel, I was actually talking about the education system and how fucked up it is. And how we need to burn the Department of Education to the ground, rebuild.
Yeah, Linda McMahon's doing a good job, by the way. Big fan of Linda McMahon. We love Linda McMahon here. Keep up the work.
I mean, just get rid of the federal Department of Education. Bring in, let the states take over education as it's intended. So the biggest thing is that the more we go to states' rights, the more the country self-corrects.
Mm.
And
So
we
I
see
don't-
that in
The
every.
liberals agree with you. The liberals agree with you now.
Yeah, they do.
It's amazing. All we had to do to get them on the 2A train was take away the trans guns, bro.
Yeah, the 13 states don't allow federal immigration into their state to
Yeah,
deport people here. So.
sanctuary city. Go ahead, Tyler.
Okay, so
we know
the
a
Fairy Queen's
less
question.
than 3 entertainment. They're asking which Discord I'm in. I'm in a secret room. You can't get there from here.
Yeah.
So
It's Chris Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah, outside the club.
this is a private. I'm sorry, guys. This is a. I'm sorry, my chat.
That's Sparky.
Everybody's
That's
chat.
Jason. Jason wants to come on the panel. He's yelling in my chat.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Okay. So hold on. To Fairy Queen's question,
done.
I'm sure she's correct. Yeah, we're pretty much about to finish. So I'm sure Fairy Queen is correct about a certain
blah blah blah.
No
Leftist. Blah blah blah. No leftist. Blah blah blah. No leftist. Sorry.
I'm sure you guys are also correct about a large amount of teachers as well. I'm sure there's woke teachers out there that push this shit onto kids, and then the kids go to their non-woke teachers like Brett Weinstein and say, "Why aren't you woke enough?" and force them out. And I'm sure it's similar to like if you get like a hard red or a hard blue state. Once you force out the competition, there's no longer a reason to moderate. You now have to be like the most left wing or the most right wing to win in that hard blue or hard red state.
I remember being in college. When you find out you have a right wing professor, you feel like you unlocked a secret. Like it's not the.
Let me tell you, man. So my oldest son, his first grade year was in California. I shit you not that I was in another state shooting a match, and this dumb broad calls me on the phone to have me tell my son to stop reading in class and do whatever he was supposed to be doing, like take a nap or whatever. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're the teacher. What is wrong with you?
And that's a college grid? Like that?
No,
that was a
first
college
grade. That's first grade,
first
bro.
Grade. Okay.
First grade.
I have a fun story.
I got in trouble. I got in trouble in like elementary school because I'd read books while they were teaching, and I wouldn't.
You can't.
I wasn't a reader in school. Like, to be honest,
I know
our tests were based, bro.
This is a case in Texas.
Imagine the disgust response I felt that a teacher, a professional.
The education system is disgusting.
Could not handle a 6-year-old.
I know of a story here in Texas, and I heard this from the mother directly, where her first grade child in class, another boy in the class, this is a first grade classroom, another boy in the class went up to her son and kissed him on the cheek and said, "I want to be gay with you." And he pushed the other kid, and he got in trouble. And here's the thing. The obvious conclusion to anyone with a fucking brain is that first grade kid got that from somewhere. Why is this kid saying he wants to be gay? Who's giving him this fun theatrical vision of being fucking gay?
Progressive parents as well.
It's literally like, this is what's going on with the school. This is what's going on. The school punished the kid that pushed the kid off of him. And that kid got no consequences. And this is obviously a huge deal, and this teacher or this parent that I was speaking to was very emotional and torn about it. But it's like, this is the school system. This is the school system that her child is subjected to. That's the problem. These teachers are fucking sick fucks. We had to pass a bill in Florida to say, hey, if they're in 3rd grade or below, stop talking to them about this shit. And they couldn't even fucking agree to that.
I definitely think that, like, I growing up, like, there was only, like, I had a few teachers that if they were on the right, the teachers just didn't tell you anything. And then I had a few teachers that were like very big debate focused, but they were like right leaning. And but they would do both sides. But like most of my teachers, even here in Texas, were all very left, and they made it a very aware. That's
where failures go to breed.
Yeah,
they teach.
This is a problem even with celebrities that have PR teams. Their PR teams go and say, "Hey, can we put out this gay woke statement?" They're like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm making millions of dollars a year. I don't give a fuck." But any conservative celebrity that goes out, they're like, "No, you can't put this. You're putting all of our jobs at risk." So they stay silent. That's why they say, if you don't know your favorite celebrity's politics, it's probably because he's not a leftist.
I was in high school in New York, middle school in New York. I remember the teachers had our classrooms go outside to picket with them in a union picket against their current wages.
So that same first grade teacher,
pathetic.
No,
That
sixth
same
grade.
first grade teacher told my son to vote for Hillary, and my son, being my son, said no.
Wait, why are they saying hey, first grader, vote for Hillary? What the hell?
Well,
What's
because
going
they were
on?
having a
just need
mock
bodies.
election. They were having a mock election
Oh,
in first grade,
really?
and
Nah,
with Hillary
it's because
Did you
they
see the
just-
TikTok?
and the
They
teacher's
have
like,
the
"Go ahead and
socials
vote
to
for
give
Hillary."
Nah, they're training them so that the kids could go to the
Yeah.
polls and they give them their fake social.
That's
and then-
insane, bro.
right,
That is
I
so
mean, I
fucking
almost
My
think,
insane.
kid
like,
was
I'm
like,
joking, but I
"No,
almost think that's true. Like,
I saw a testimonial from one parent that said that on the day Charlie Kirk got shot, her child came home and said, "I hate Charlie Kirk. He deserved it." And the parent was like, "Where the fuck did you get that from?" Like that's obviously not how the parent had been raising this student. But when you're sacrificing 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to this fucking system, like you're right, they are. This is something we all certainly agree with. They are going after the kids, and we certainly do need to be present and make that fight where those kids are. But when we're having adults at the table and we're having these political debates with people that are actively engaged, we really don't need the fully grown retard. We really just don't.
Yeah, but what does that mean exactly? Because again, we have fully grown retards teaching our kids this type of thing. Like Charlie Kirk deserves it. They're all around. That's what I'm saying. Like I've seen regular left-wing people that didn't seem crazy. They're not posting anything crazy on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. But yet when Charlie fucking got the bullet, they're saying, yeah, it is what it is, but he kind of deserved it because he's racist, stuff like that. So I think that there's a lot more people that are far left than they give on, bro. And I think that's kind of
that's true. But there's also some that probably just go along with it because that's the dominant narrative in their life, and they're afraid of their friends and they're afraid of their family because they get purity tested all the time. And I think personally, like, what does it mean to not let them at the table? Personally, and this is the way my channel works. We're MAGA headquarters. We don't have to talk to leftists. We don't have to do panels and debate January 6th in 2025. We just don't have to be doing this. What we need to be doing is having panels saying, what is the right way to deport all of the people that should be deported? What is the right way to implement a law that says you cannot transition children sexually, that you can't discuss sexual topics with elementary schoolers? We need to be discussing how to actually achieve the goals that we've now won the debate on. That's what I think we need to do.
That's interesting. Go to Tyler. I just want to say, I think maybe we could do something that you're saying, Pin. Like, I'm not saying cut the lefties out, but I think that we should just now that we have the power, they used to exclude us or make us come in hostile territory and debate, say we wanted to debate border control. They would just say oh, the racist Republican border policy, and then they put you in there some loaded thing. And I think we should start forcing them to play the loaded field. Now that we have panels, they want to come on, make the titles loaded. I think we should do the other thing. What were you just saying? I just lost it here. Fuck. Anyway, Tyler, go ahead. It'll come back to me.
So I kind of want to. Grid is the only one really seeming to really fight back against this, and I'm not saying you have a couple good points. We do.
Just exclude January 6th. Say we're not going to even talk about it. Be like, all right, we're 5 years from now. Why are we talking about
this?
You
have a rule.
Move on and just keep going. Yeah,
that applies to most of the issues that we're debating.
I absolutely refuse when I go on the panels now.
I might be unique because this is MAGA headquarters, and Capital One isn't going to let Bank of America into their headquarters. That's my channel. What we're going to do here.
I think it's important to relitigate. If somebody wants to relitigate Jan 6, I'm happy to do so as long as they're using
we'll send them to you.
Yeah, I'm sick of it.
Who's not retarded?
I don't want to talk about
they brought it up the other night. I was on a panel the other night and somebody brought it up, and I'm like, if you really want to relitigate it, let's do it.
Well, it's a tactic is the problem. I feel like we should not engage in the tactic, right? Like we go on there. If I'm talking about border security, they shouldn't be but January 6th. If we're talking about Russian policy, Ukraine policy, they shouldn't be January 6th. We're talking about it's like a catch-all for them. And I feel like we should just be nope, I'm not. I refuse to even engage in this. If they
want
to argue,
you just into the dirt.
Sure, I do too, Grid. Nobody likes to do that more than me, but I feel like it also sends a message whenever we're debating. And I just go, oh no, I'm not gonna say anything more about this, and they just keep going. Then they're talking to a wall.
It sharpens their sword.
They need us more than we need them.
It sharpens their sword. So what is the point of debating with somebody right after an election for the next year when there's 2 years till the next one? What do you get from it? All you're giving them is your counter argument. Let them go into their dark little corner for a year. Let them get completely unhinged in their echo chamber and come out with some repulsive, anti-human thing. If Destiny can get the pushback on his comments, I bet you a bunch of more leftists would be cool with it. So let them do that. Let them get completely unhinged. And then 6 months before an election, 3 months before an election, that's when you let them come out and speak and just completely expose themselves. And you make clips and you make shorts and you just nuke them, and it has more impact because people are.
I think we should do that the whole time. I feel like
Yeah,
if you let them forget.
People
Like if you let them forget. No, you just keep hammering how evil it is. Go ahead, Todd.
Tyler, I think we need to debate the Charlie Kirk situation, and we should never let people forget that situation. Especially, we should say that the left is a violent, they're the party of violence, and we should not let people that are voters forget that. I think that's something that we need to debate with leftists all year round at least until the midterms. But at least that.
I'm telling you, dude, this Charlie Kirk thing, this isn't something that's going to be a passing news cycle. Charlie Kirk has activated people who will vote conservative for the rest of their
trying to do more
lives.
I think that's the thing.
I don't think they understand. I don't think even we understand how much the landscape has shifted. People are so used to the pendulum swinging back and forth and all this stuff. I don't think people understand that the level of impact we almost saw Trump get his head blown off.
Well,
there's no argument
here.
But Charlie Kirk's death is activating people, and that activation is not going to last 2 years and then die off. These people are.
And we need to push on it. That's my point.
Full steam ahead, and we will, and we are, and we will. And it would save us suck to be a leftist.
That does involve getting into that space with these lefties. That's the thing. We need to go into these lefties and prove to the world that this is the party of violence. And trust you me, dude, we will win the midterms and we will win the next election if we press on that.
I think like by letting them go in like faster, where actually is a problem, right? Because they're going to go faster, they're going to have their little spokespeople that keep interacting, right? But they're going to go in there and they're going to start like trying a different tactic, right? Or something, right? And they're going to keep going and they're going to spread, and then now they're going to come back even more radical and stronger.
But they're going to be dumber and dumber every time in the argument.
You don't stop taking penicillin.
They're not going to go to the fridge.
No. I think it's like an infection, right? You don't stop taking penicillin when you start feeling better. You stop taking penicillin all the way through your treatment because it kills everything. If you don't, the bacteria gets like stronger, like a resistance.
That's a good analogy.
Right? Well, and I think that's what's happening with these people, right? And I think they should be exposed the entire time while we're pushing policy. I do want to ask in this last little bit we have here. Okay, what if the pendulum has swung, right? What if we've reached a different tipping point instead of a left-right pendulum? What if we've reached a point of no return on the violence, right? Because should we keep being the higher like power, or do we keep doing vigils and memorials and prayer, or do we eventually respond? Or do we start asking the government to be more aggressive, or what does that look like? Because right now it's like just since Trump's assassination, we had Kirk killed. Right. We've had a whole bunch of other right-wing violence. I mean, the one right-wing violence we've able to point to is the Hortmans, right? But even just since Kirk has died, we've had, I think, 6 shootings now and a bomb placed under a car in Fox.
Correct.
All of them directly tied to lefties, no matter what they want to think or argue. And it's like, what point do we stop even not the debate and just policy? What do we start being actually like the party, like Grid said earlier in his opening, the party that's capable of real violence? When do we start doing, is there a line? Do we never get to that? What do y'all think?
Can I start with this really quickly?
Sure.
Look, first off, I don't think we should be the party of violence. I think we should use policies. That's for damn sure. In fact, the whole cancel culture shit, we should use cancel culture on them. I'm 100% for it. They've been doing it to us for 10 fucking years. We should do it back. Not only that, we should prosecute our political opponents. They've been doing that to us, especially with Donald Trump. We should shoot it back because there's only so much frustration that we have when we're trying to play by the rules in chess and they're fucking making their pawn go 3 spaces up or making their queen go from one corner to the other and skipping spaces. There's a time to where we just throw the board off there and use their tactics against them. I'm totally fine with canceling them. At this point, it's a turning point, okay? Charlie's death really woke up a lot of people, and I think we should use those tactics against them and be unapologetic about it. That's just my perspective here.
Regarding the cancel culture thing, I don't even think it's cancel culture. This is literally what it means to have a reputation. When it takes one call and informing the boss of what happened, that's not cancel culture. Cancel culture is when they're getting inundated with calls, it's starting to interfere with the business, and they're like, look, I just got to let you go. I can't be dealing with this. I'm trying to make money. That's what cancel culture is. It's manufactured, and it's fake, and it's over things that aren't inherently bad. These things are... Literally, this is your reputation. Every single baseball team, school I attended, every single employer I've ever had has made it very clear that my activities online, I need to be prepared to go to explain that to the dean of my law school. I need to know that I'm representing whatever organization I'm working for. That's what this is. And they understand it if you ask them about a white person saying the N-word. They'll abandon their freedom of speech argument immediately for that. But these people, they aren't playing by rules that they honor, and I absolutely.
Well, that's why I
said.
Let me give you guys a definition of cancel culture that's going to completely like answer all those. Why isn't it cancel culture when you do that? Cancel culture is the hijacking of an accountability share of a general morality that we have as a country. We all agree murder is bad. Cancel culture is when you hijack that apparatus where people are fired for something we generally all see bad and apply your political narratives to it, especially when they're represented by just a small group of the country. It's taking those mechanisms that we have in place because we want shame. We want people to be shamed. We want people to be fired from their job for saying disgusting things or being super racist or not.
That's a result of.
I'm gonna hold on. Grid, you're gonna go, and then I'm gonna do some housekeeping, and then we're gonna do closing. Go ahead.
Okay, but that's a result of the right saying I don't give a fuck enough, right? Like we just haven't said that enough, right? It's like, well, so and so was really mean to me today, and he said that I was he called me a black man. Well, you are a black man, but it offended me. He should just call me a man. I don't give a fuck. See how easy that is? I don't.
You're supposed to capitalize the B, and now he doesn't want to.
I don't care.
And lowercase w and white.
It's funny.
Why do we care about all of these things? And people have like made these small trivial things so damned important.
You're gonna really get a kick out of this, Grid.
You can't actually say certain things, right? You just can't.
You're gonna get a kick out of this. So last night I'm streaming, and I'm playing Helldivers with Majin, and Majin's African American Samoan. He goes, "I'm gonna stop letting people use the word color around me." I go, well, "I don't know who's using that word around you, but okay." And he goes, "Yeah, or a person of color." And I go, "Why?" Is it because it's basically short for colored? I was like, "Bro, what's in the name of the NAACP?" He's like, I don't know what that. I was like, "Well, it's a National Advancement Associate or whatever for the for colored people." I was like, "So are you gonna stop following the NAACP?" He's like,
No.
Now I have to think of it. I'm like, this is the word they chose back in the day because the other one was not politically correct, right? Like, and now it's a different, and there's always change. And I just,
it's like feature creep. It
is feature creep, and we had a good laugh about it. He's a cool guy. He can argue and debate, and he's fun. But it's funny you brought that up now, and then whatever. But I'm gonna let y'all do closings here 1 second. A couple little housekeeping, just exciting stuff. Thank you to Jake Varr here for finding this fantastic setup for me on his show, or actually hosting a great show the other week because it got me good enough to get an invite to go do this Destiny debate. So shout out Jake Varr for that. We'll be debating Destiny next Thursday. It's gonna be fun. So fuck that bitch. Give Team Republican all the way. Next, I guess the Saturday after that, we'll be doing that. Me and Tyler will be on the Rotten Tomatoes. No, the Raging Tomatoes. Sitting here going and talking about should Israel have should the U.S. cut ties with Israel? We're gonna argue no because we like war. And then I guess what else do we got? We got all sorts of stuff. We'll be back Monday. I might have a shortened schedule next week for that. Also, guys, since we have a shortened schedule this week, the subathon. We are only at about halfway. If y'all want to see me get a spray tan and look super orange, y'all have to get another 150 subs. So y'all make it happen or don't. I don't really give a shit, but we'll see. So anyway, I think that's it. Let's start with closings. We'll go inverse of what we did. Oh, DCS Contenders Series is going to start next month, and we're going to determine our regular season champion. We have two of the people here, Tyler and Penn. I know Penn is super excited to get back in the. Can't wait.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. There's no retards left in the series.
And so we'll go with that. Maybe he could win a championship, disappear to avoid the retards, and that would be hilarious.
I need to get it back after I lost the poker championship to Tyler.
Yeah, well, he only won the poker championship because I couldn't give him that thing. That's why. But I fucking don't even start. Anyway, yeah. Okay.
All I'm gonna say is Orange Gibbs bad.
Scoreboard.
Speaking of, by the way, we are starting up the poker league again. The poker league is back.
I had the most eliminations in the league, by the way, by bar none. Nobody even came.
That
close.
Is true.
And
you eliminated an entire table once.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you want to see my fucking trophy?
Hey, I'll tell you what. I have a trophy.
It's true. He does have a trophy. Get it. I paid money for it.
Anyway, let's go to Penn. You can start us off with closings.
All right. Fuck leftists. This is MAGA headquarters. If you want to come hang out with us, we give out very, very few hall passes to some leftists, but generally speaking, you're not welcome if you're not MAGA. So don't even bother coming over here. But if you are MAGA, come home, baby. Come on home. Come on home.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Jake could probably answer this question. They want to know where it'll be posted. I said Pangman's channel probably a few days after. How long did your debate take?
Yeah, so the way it works over there is that it's going to be live streamed on Destiny's channel. So you will have an audience about 10 to 15,000 people watching live during the time. After the event is over, it's going to be taken down. Pangberg, Travis is going to be editing it, and it usually comes in about like 3-4 days after the event's over, and then it'll be posted on the Pangberg YouTube channel. So just FYI for everybody there. Yeah, that's how it works usually.
That's small potatoes audiences. I ain't worried about that.
One day, dude, I'll tell you this. When I first got on there, bro, like I was getting a lot of people making shitting on me, bro. At one point, somebody said that I had a firearm in my jacket the first time that I debated Destiny. These people are lunatics.
Well, but the more they hate you, the better you're doing.
Oh yeah, big time, bro. Big time. I got a lot of hate after those events, bro. But anyways, yeah, I'll shoot out with my closing statement. Guys, you can find me on Project VealPod on YouTube. I'm the host over there. You can find me over there on Rumble as well. And if you want to follow me on X or Instagram, it's JVAR11 that you can just type it in, or just type in my name, Jake Var, on any of those platforms. You'll find me there. With that being said, I will tell you this. Yes, leftists, I will agree with Penn over here. Leftists are fucking lunatics. They're idiots. It is what it is. And yes, we do need to take back the culture. I think the culture is the main thing here, is that we need to influence, especially Gen Zers, to get into the liberal arts and take back what the left has won since, in my guesstimation, would be around the 1960s. And I think that's the key component. I think culture is downstream from politics to get our policies passed. So with that being said, I'll end my closing statement.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Grid.
Yeah, guys, I'm Grid One Motorsports. You can find me at An Unreasonable Man on YouTube mostly. Also Twitch. I need to start concentrating on Twitch. I don't spend enough time over there. At any rate, I will be,
you bastards.
Yeah, I will be at TwitchCon in a few weeks. We're gonna have a great time doing that. Also, if you're coming to DebateCon, I've got an event set up for that. It's going to be legit. It's going to be choice. A lot of your people are going to be there. And I host a debate show on Friday nights. It's a short format blood sport debate. Tomorrow night, now we've changed the way we're doing it. Tomorrow night, if you want to be part of tomorrow night's show, you need to hit somebody up that has my Discord so that we can put you on the card for tomorrow night. Because we're going to accept 10 entrants, and that's it. We start at 8 o'clock. Bring it. Bring the heat. Bring your notes if you need them.
How many you got filled?
Sorry?
How many you got filled already? I know you got at least 2
here. I think we have like 5 leftists just from our lefty over there. Just our boy.
Yeah, I brought a bunch of. Well, no. That the one girl I got from Gibb. What the hell's her name?
We got.
That doesn't really narrow it down.
About half full right now, and we still got other people that are stepping up. It's a great show. It's a great format. It's fun to watch. More importantly, if you're into debating, it is great practice because you have to think, baby. You got to think, and it's awesome. Yep. The other thing that we really do is I do shows 5 days. I do 5 shows a week. I cover a lot of news. I cover a lot of social issues. We talk about men's advocacy a lot. Talk about relationship, money, all that kind of stuff. It's a great time. I have interesting guests on occasion, so you should come check it out. And as far as this discussion goes, I think it was productive. I originally thought it was going to be kind of a echo chamber, and I wasn't really sure how it was going to go. We did have some elements of disagreement, and I actually really made. I feel like I made some salient points, but I was really impressed with some of the points the other guys made. And we all need to be aware that, look, we need the right and the left to some degree. The current state of the left is they've gone so far left that they don't even understand what they are anymore. I have no problem with the legitimate Democrat, a legitimate Kennedy blue dog Democrat. I don't have a problem with that guy, right? Like he's going to want some things that I don't agree with, but I don't have a problem because that's just a simple, that we will come together on some issues. The way it is right now, leftist will never fucking vote for anything if a person on the right endorses it. And that's wrong. Politics aren't supposed to be that way. Our entire government is ass fucked right now because the left has gone so far left that they can't admit that they're wrong. And they need to just admit it. And they just need to be able to say, yeah, you know what? You're right. We need to come back. We need to meet the right halfway on this. You never hear about the left meeting the right halfway. It's always about the right having to come across the fucking aisle to shake hands with a snake bite leftist. No. It's not how politics work, baby. It at least it shouldn't be. And so the left needs to reform itself. Until then, I consider them a disease to some degree, a pest that, needs to be tolerated and avoided. And with that, Tyler, take it away, baby.
Well, before Tyler goes to say, well, if he's got 5 lefties, Tyler, and I jump on there, that's 6. So there's 4 slots left, guys. So make sure y'all sign up. What time is that again?
We start at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, the only real time there is. Central Standard Time tomorrow.
It's a good show. Y'all should definitely check it out. Also, Grid does the day shift. He's one of the only streamers here, I think, streams during the day. Watch that bullshit. It's good stuff. All right, go ahead, Tyler.
Okay, so what I want to talk about is kind of with my definition for what cancel culture is. They're hijacking a system of public shaming people for having disgusting opinions or disgusting hobbies that used to be in place. It's a social good to have in place. Now, I will say when I was younger, the religious right had hijacked that and pushed some people to the outside. I remember strip clubs couldn't even be in a city at one point in New York, and like somewhere red New York, if you didn't know, 2 blue places and the rest of it's all red. So, that being said, that accountability needs to come back. We need to fix that system, not throw it away because they hijacked it one time. And we need to start by punishing these people for dishonesty. Pentuple's completely right that these people know they're being dishonest. They're met with things like we just saw in chat. Farrakhan was presenting facts and quotes. It was just like complete denial. There was just no accepting it. And then I was showing hypocrisy as well. It was just could not get any concession. At some point, you have to socially isolate these people. You don't have to step into that den of snakes, as Grid was saying, and go on these podcasts that have unfair titles and some dude that's going to moderate but also argue against you and treat you unfairly because he believes in the cause that he's also championing as well. We could just do our own thing. Like, it really, you can. There's honest left-wingers. I have multiple of them in my Discord. My Discord's not a fan thing. I'm not building a community. It's all just other streamers and shit. So we can, pool for panels if you need people, pop in there and shit like that. But we also argue all day, and, there are honest left-wingers that will give you these blatantly true concessions, and they're just not getting the voice because we're allowing these people into a space. Let them go off into their corner, let them fester, let them get completely unhinged, and then right before an election, that's when you pop them for 6 months straight and show the world this is who they actually are when it matters. Because people get numb to that shit. If you do it every day, it's just another leftist-owned video on YouTube. But if you suppress that shit, give some people some time to build the jump scare, and then hit them with the pow when it matters, you're going to have a lot more effect on elections. You're going to force these people out. Pentuple and I are starting a podcast probably in the next couple of weeks. We're still working on plans. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to kick fucking ass. You should watch it. You should watch it with the lotion and tissues because I'm going to be on it. And
I'm going to be naked.
Yeah. I'm going to be on Jake's channel in a couple of weeks debating Israel. Gibbs and I are going to be on fucking Raging Tomato debating Israel. A show on Grid's, Judge on Grid's show tomorrow night as well. So you're going to see my ugly face anywhere you fucking go. Just deal with it.
That is true.
That's good. That's the way to do it. All right, are you, Pentuple, are you or Grid streaming after this for a while?
I'm live right now.
I'm staying on for a little bit.
All right, cool. I'm going to raid over to you again. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Great panel. Y'all have a good rest of your night. We're going to raid over to Grid on my channel, and then everybody go follow and lurk for a while so that he can get his...
Are you on Twitch?
Yeah, he's on Twitch.
Yeah, I'm on Twitch.
Okay. I'm also going to raid you in 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's
everyone's going to end up with Grid.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're getting his affiliate tonight if he doesn't already have it. So, guys, that's what we're going to do.
I barely ever have anybody in my chat.
That way we get, it's a slow growth. You start getting them, and then once the snowball.
Yeah, that's what it means. Not that kind of
All right,
snowball.
y'all be
Though.
good. Hey,
Thanks,
listen,
Jay.
maybe both.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks,
Peace
Jay.
out, y'all.
So, all
All
right.
right, peace. Penn, I got you. Oh, he already fled out.
Somehow
I'm out.
Austin, like, come
Boom. What's up? What's up? I'm back. Now I can actually, it's like, just fucking use my thing. What's up? Acknowledge your 4 personalities. Okay. Welcome all 4 of your personalities. How the hell are you tonight? What's up with it? These nuts. That was a great, honestly, I thought I was going to be like this huge echo chamber, and it ended up being cool, man. It ended up actually being really cool. I was really happy about it. And that was super rad. So yeah, really cool. And super happy about all of it. I'm getting beeped in here. There's some pretty crazy stuff out there. Penn is off the chain tonight, man. He is like he had energy for days. That man had it going on. Whoa, yeah, we got a lot of raiders over in the Twitch side. Welcome all you guys over on the Twitch side. I see you. I see you. All right, all right. Jake raided me. Damn, awesome. Welcome to the Jake Raiders over here. Let's go. Let's go. I do really believe that the leftists have just gone too far. I mean, look, my mom is a Kennedy Democrat. She really is. And it's crazy because, she's told me for the last 6 years or so that she doesn't even recognize the Democrat Party anymore. As a matter of fact, half the time I'll tell her what's going on and I'll say, yeah, this is happening or that's happening. And she'll be like, who's doing that? Republicans? And I'm like, no, that's Democrats, Mom. And she's like, that's insane. That's crazy. Yeah, that's not right. So, we can argue, we can discuss it, all of that. If anybody wants to come up and do on the panel over here on the tubes, just jump in. Tell me if you happen to be in my Discord, I'll send you a link. If you're not in the Discord, I can't send you a link. Where is my there's my Discord right there. So let me get the fuck out of this one. But yeah, I mean, it's great. There's a lot of cool shit out there. But at the same time, guys, the Democrats have just lost it. I mean, they've just absolutely lost it. And especially guys like Destiny, right? You'd rather be a Kennedy Democrat than a fence-sitting libertarian. Damn, tell me how you really feel. Yeah. So I don't really understand. I'm not one that believes in my heart of hearts that we have destroyed the Democrat Party. It just doesn't do that way. It just doesn't work. But what does happen over time is that a lot of Democrats sort of wake up. There's a old saw, if you will, that if you're it's normal to be liberal when you're in college and a conservative as an adult, and I think that that's true because you need to, you tend to go through that liberal period in your life. I didn't, but that's all right. You're in Buffalo, Mister. That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Yeah. Shuffle off to Buffalo. There you go. That's right. Based move. That is correct. Let's go. What's up? So anyway, we've got a lot of really good stuff going on. I have, if you guys don't know, obviously I think most everyone here knows about the big party in Nashville, pre-Debate Con 6. I need to finalize that card. If anybody wants to be on that card that's going to be at Debate Con, let me know. I think we're only going to be able to do like 4 2-hour debates. We might be able to do 5. We'll see. I think it's going to be 4. And we got some heavy hitters coming in. We've got Rob Knorr. I think he wants to debate. I'm hoping that Fabian Liberty will be well and be able to travel. So Fabian Liberty will be there. We've got Jake Viopod is going to be there. He's been just tearing it up lately. Andrew Wilson's going to be there. I don't think he's going to be debating, but he will be there. Sarah the Raging Tomato is going to be there. Tomato, all of it. I'm pretty sure Jake Rattlesnake's going to make it. Pretty sure. Hope. If he's back in the country by then, I think he's going to be there. It's going to be an all-star lineup. I'm trying to get Enemy Charlie to make it along with some others. I think Kel was planning on being there. I'm not sure she's going to be there. Glenn Lawrence was supposed to be there, but we're not sure about if he's going to show up yet. But it'll be cool if he does. I got Gibbs over here. Yeah, I got you, Gibbs. So you want to be on the card, on a card? Yeah, we'll give you a card. All right. Your dad voted Republican tonight, early voting. I got to him. It did help that the Dem was a woman and the Republican was an Italian male. Yeah, right. That's solidarity right there, baby. With that Italian American solidarity. That's what's up. So we're going to have this event at DebateCon. It's a big party. We're going to have debates. We're going to have man in the crowd interviews. We're going to do a lot of really cool stuff. And it's a big deal for me. And one of the things that I'm hoping to do is just kind of springboard this into maybe going on Tim Pool or something. So got a lot of stuff going on. I wasn't really planning on streaming much later, but I got raided and everything. So I feel like I should keep you guys entertained. So I was actually hoping somebody would come up so that I could take some of the pressure off of me, but we don't have that right now. So, that's all right. That's all right. So it'd be cool. You'd like to debate Fabian Liberty on the political practicality of libertarian politics? Okay. Ask him if he'll take that. If he'll take that debate. I bet he will. I do need some leftist debaters to show up. So if you happen to be in touch with any of them that may be coming to DebateCon, please let me know. If you're a member of the Crucible or you're planning to attend, please reach out to me on my Discord through DM or whatever and let me know that you're planning on showing up. When in doubt, talk guns. That's me, baby. That's me. Talk about it. Pentuple has just become a new follower. That's awesome. Pentuple TV, welcome to the show. Pentuple, I believe, is also going to be there. So that's going to be rad. It's just going to be a rad night. Like, it's going to be so cool. And we're going to have a great time. We really are going to have a great time. So there's going to be some interesting things going on in the future. So we'll talk about that. Let's see. I had a whole thing earlier today that I was going to go into that I didn't really make it into about how older people. How do I say this politely? I'm starting to not really give a fuck about people over 30 finding love or not, right? And talking relationships with them because honestly, again, and I said this earlier, if you don't understand how to get laid by the time you're 30 years old, I don't know that I can help you, brother. Right? Now, whether or not you can find love and understand romance and all of that, maybe I can talk about that a little more. I was talking about it quite a bit a while back, but the relationship stuff, the lifestyle stuff, I don't know. Like, this is not relevant to me anymore. Part of that is because I keep looking, I keep watching the Pentuple TV MAGA has arrived over in over on Twitch. That is awesome, my friend. Awesome. Good to see you, buddy. Raging Patriot just wrote off 2 long-time friends today. They went full lefty on me. Never thought they'd do it. Oh, well, fuck them. I have enough friends. Yeah, we can talk about, that as an adult male, you probably only need more than 2. So, guys, look, I'm far more concerned about the youth, the young men, the people who are being left behind, the people who are in the clutches daily of the blue hair, pink hair, the fat, stupid ass women that just cannot understand why nobody wants to date them because they're stupid. They're unintelligent. That may insult someone. I'm sorry if it hurts feelings, but it just is the way it is. So I've had this, I've been having this like shift in my thinking about how men's advocacy, as far as I'm concerned, needs to work. I don't need to teach 30, 40-year-old men how to recover after their divorce. Right? I don't feel like I should. You're a grown ass man. Get your shit together. If you need support, please call, contact, email, whatever, Sons of Thor, and they will help you out, baby. They will. They really do it. But I don't know that I'm the guy to help you out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to call on all men to look around you. Look at what's going on with the young men around you, right? And become a leader in your community so that young men have an ideal, something to look up to, someone to emulate, right? In your churches, in the schools to some degree. I know not all of us go, are on school grounds very often or whatever. There's all of these things that we just have to, as men, we are to be the examples to those young men, and not examples of driving around in stupid ass cars that you can't actually afford yourself. You're fucking renting it or whatever. Not showing off a Rolex or something like that, but being a good, solid man. Just be a dude and show young men how to work, how the world works. I look at I have a 15-year-old son, and I look at him and I look at the role models in his life, and I am glad at the choices I made. We go to these shooting events, and there's all of these ex-mil guys and some current mil, some active duty guys, some guys that are deploying, and some guys that just got back from being deployed. And my son gets to see those men be men. And, there's a multitude of examples of this, right? But that's my son. He's the lucky one. But more often than not, these young men, these boys, these kids, are left in the clutches of blue-haired idiots, telling them that they should be ashamed of being a man, that that's not really masculine. You know, if they were really masculine, you know, they wouldn't say that, right? Well, fuck that. Fuck you. Fuck that. We know science, statistics, all of it shows us that young men that grow up without a man in their life, a father figure, a role model, if you will, tend to be in trouble with the law. They tend to act out. They tend to have a lot of problems in life and not be as successful as someone who has a father figure, a male role model in their life to emulate, to look at. Boy Scouts actually do not, in my area, fuck it button. Boy Scouts in my area do not do any of that. As a matter of fact, in my son's troop, there are no women allowed. There are no girls allowed. There is a female troop. They're all by themselves. They do not interact with our troop at all. And we still call it Boy Scouts. So, yeah, if you, a kid that has no father probably ends up as a male whore or a femboy or some other fucked up life. I'm sorry, I'm getting some chats over here in Twitch. I'm gonna answer these as best I can. Let's see, we've got Icehouse says that he's a Raider from Pentuple TV. Welcome to the show. I've started using their own words towards them. Had a lesbian show me a picture of her in a tux for a wedding, and I was like, "Oh, you're so brave." That's kind of gross, but hopefully that embarrassed the shit out of them. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Solid work. And we had another one come through. We had a first-time chat from Raider Kylor 6. When you watch, let's see if I can. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it. That's okay. When you watch the Whatever podcast, you've got to remember most of those women are from California or other large cities. Correct. They're all mostly from coastal cities. They aren't very representative women in more conservative spaces. That's true. However, when you talk about the women and the young men that come on, or men in general that come on, whatever, yeah, they're absolutely from cities a lot, most of the time, but not always. And they get some really good conservative people on there. But you really need to, again, as men and women, right? Like, look, if you're a single mom, right, and you don't know how to handle your young man, don't run from that. Embrace it a little bit and go find young men or a group of young men like Boy Scouts or various other organizations where there are male role models that they can emulate and good solid role models, right? It's a very interesting thing to me. I really wish that I really wish that I had more preparation for this. It would have been awesome, but I didn't. So that's what it is. All right. So, man, I missed a lot of chats here. That's just, yeah, sports. ROTC is great as well. ROTC is actually can be really good. So that works out solid. Yeah. Apparently I need, Pentuple says I need 2 more followers on Twitch to get affiliate. So, okay, cool. I don't know how many, I don't even actually know how many followers I have on Twitch. I don't know how to do that. But the reason this is important is young men are going to be dating women. They're going to be dating somebody's daughter. You want them to be respectful young men. At some point, they're going to have to get a job. You want them to be gainfully employed. I'm at 50. I'm at 50. That's awesome. Is that, what is that? I'm not familiar with Twitch, guys. I apologize. Does that mean, what does that mean? I'm a YouTuber, man. I don't know the stuff. I don't know the things. What does that mean? Where's Pentuple at? I need expert advice. Or Gibbs. Gibbs will know. Cam the King is correct. Young men are impressionable. The company they keep is important. It is absolutely very important. And it makes them the man they will grow into be. I can be an affiliate now? Awesome. How do I do that? So anyway, it's very important, guys. I really do. I really do think that it's super sub button. I'm trying to figure this out on the fly, guys. Oh, I got you. I got you. I can sign the tax forms, and all right, I'll do that. I'll get someone to help me, and we'll get that done. Cool. Made affiliate. Sweet. Oh, got an incoming message. Sweet. Let's go. I love it when I get good news, guys. I love it. I fucking love it. It's awesome. So not only are we going to have security, armed security at my event, we're going to have recently retired special forces young men as our armed security. That's nice. That's nice. I like it. I like it. Man, what a great night. What a great night. That's awesome. So that was just got that message. That was sweet. That's nice. All right, so back where I was going. Young men are impressionable. They don't know about women. They don't know the traps. They don't understand the thing. And here's a difference between men and young women, right? Women will help other young women, and nobody thinks twice about it. A man trying to help a young man is a man trying to help a young man, to a lot of people, will seem suspicious to some degree, right? It's weird, and which I don't understand why it's weird, but people think it's weird. So young girls mature faster because they have all of these women around them giving them advice all the time. Young men tend to mature slower because they often don't have any male advice at all, and they don't trust advice from females. And Icehouse is correct that he's always heard that your father is the only man who wants you to truly do better than him. There's truth to that, man. There's a lot of truth to that. And it pains me to say it, but damn, there's a lot of truth to that. Men are competitive. Although I don't necessarily believe it pains me to say that, but at the same time, I'm one of those men that I really truly want other men to be better. Right? I absolutely want you to be better. Even when I was racing, guys, I tell you what, so you new people, you don't know this about me. I owned a race team, and I would go to my I go to the track, right? And I remember we were at Mid Ohio one year. This is for the Pirelli World Challenge. I think it was race 4 or something like that. And we were racing against a friend of ours. In practice, he flips his car. It happens, no big deal. He needed a windshield. He blew every engine he had in his trailer. He just had a rough, man, dude, he had a rough fucking weekend. I didn't want to beat him that way. It was more important to me to beat him on the track. So I literally cut the windshield out of my spare car and went down. I sent my guys to the parts store and they bought a windshield seal, and it came back and we put my windshield in his car. I had my guys over there, beating the bodywork back out, making sure the car was safe, helping his guys out. And I loaned them my engine stand and engine crane and a bunch of other stuff so they could rebuild. Well, I guess they had an engine crane, but that my engine stand and some other tools so they could take all of their broken ass engines and build a new engine. I gave them a gasket kit. I gave them everything they needed to get on the track the next day. Everything. And then we beat the snot out of them. Because I don't want to win because somebody else can't compete. I want everyone to compete equally with me. And if they're better than me, awesome. If they're not better than me, well, fuck them. They get their lumps. That's what it is. They're going to take it. They can't beat me. But I don't want to win in the pits. Right? And so it was more important to me to beat my competitors on the track. And I had a reputation throughout the paddock for being the guy. I would give you anything in my trailer. If I didn't need it, you could have it. Even if I did need it, I would just go buy another one. What did I usually race? Fuck it button. We ran a variety of cars over the years. There at the end, we were running the Mazda RX-8 and the Mazda MX-5 NC, which is the 3rd generation MX-5 and Pirelli World Challenge, touring car. We ran a lot of other things, but this was specifically in the Mazdas. So, yeah. Right. Ice House is correct. Beat the best at their best, or are you really good? Right? Are you really that good? I don't like participation trophies. If I fucking lose, I lost. Right? I don't want to win because some other guy didn't show up. I'd rather not have the event at all. If I had a one-on-one with somebody and they couldn't show up, I wouldn't take the win. I also don't like to win when I know that I'm the best person. If I know that I have the best car, if I know, all right, so we were road Atlanta one time. I had Chip Hare in the car. Chip Hare, whatever. Put him in the car, send him out. We're fast as fuck, right? We have a good car, good driver, new tires. We're just smoking these fools. So we qualified on pole position by a lot. A lot. So then we out-qualified the field by so much that they inverted the field, so we had to start last. No problem. I like that. It's good. We still won. We still, from dead last to first, because I had a pro driver, I had a pro level car. I was everything everything's pro. Like we're pro guys. Is there a membership link that I can provide to join? Yeah, it's right. It's over there in the right below the video. It says member, I think. So what is I forget how I forget what it is. So we went from last to first, and then because we were so much better than anybody else, I declined the win because I didn't want to fuck up their whole season. Right? Like these guys are there for the whole season. We're there for one time. Oh, on iPhone, I have no idea, man. Nuxus, I'm sorry, bro. I don't. Somebody help him. Somebody help Nuxus out with the membership because I don't know how to get that. But when I don't want to win just because I showed up, and I don't want to win because I'm so I'm so much better than the rest of the field. That's not a win. It's not really a win. All right? Yeah, you can't post links, guys. Just mods. But there are mods out there. There are mods in the chat. If not, you got it? All right. Anyway, so as we finish in first place, I go over to the officials and I'm like, look, we're going to decline the win. We're here to practice. We're using this as a low-cost track day. We don't want to take points away from people who are going to be racing in this series all year. It's the first race of the year. And these are club race guys, right? Like this means something to them. It didn't mean anything. This is meaningless, right? So this is where it's at, guys. I mean, as men, we need to be better. We need to provide examples. We need to be better men. We need to lead by that example. We need to do the hard things. And most importantly, we have to be able and willing to pass on our knowledge to our younger generations. We have to teach them how to be good men. We have to teach them the way of the world and how to do work and how to be good human beings. Because if we're not doing it, the blue hairs win. This is how the Democrats win. This is how the leftists win. This is how you wake up one day and your neighbor's kid is a fucking communist. And he's telling you that you should that you're a bastard for driving a Corvette or a Mercedes or whatever it is that or even a Silverado pickup because you should be driving an electric car. It's better for the environment. Right? Cam the King, I can't argue with you too much here. I do believe that men today don't always build each other up, and they very well and very often do in fact give absolute shit advice, but it doesn't have to be that way. It just doesn't. We can be better. We lead by example. Men follow good examples, and young men will follow us too. I keep harping on this point. It's been my thing all day. It really has. You just can't not do it, guys. You have to do it. Look, I know that it's more fun to watch a drama channel. I know that it's more fun to watch people yell and scream at each other. I understand. Look, I get it, man. It's entertainment value. And, there's probably people that are listening to this and will listen to this on the VOD that just don't care. They don't want to be an example. They don't think that they can be an example because they think that they're not a good example. But everybody can be a great example to young men. Everybody, every single man, every single male can be a good example. Now, can you be a good example of being a race car driver? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Can you be a good example of how to be a computer coder without being a leftist jackwad? No. Maybe you can't. Maybe that's not you. Maybe you're a farmer. Maybe you're a mechanic. Maybe you're the guy that picks up trash off the side of the road, and you drive around the garbage truck. Maybe that's, I don't know. But every single man can be an example to young men to be better young men. Every single one of us. And I'm going to tell you something, guys, and I think the women there that are in here will say the same thing. Women aren't going to do it. Women are not going to be good examples for young men. Do you expect them to be? Do you think that women are going to be able to teach young men anything? No. No, they can't. I think it's wrong to even ask a woman to teach a young man anything. This is important stuff. This is not light. I know that it should be, because I'm getting ready to sign off here in a little bit, but oh, that was weird. Sorry about that. My computer reset for a second. Sorry about that. This is important things. You can't rely on a school teacher, a nurse, someone's sister, your wife's sister, your wife. I can't rely on my wife to teach my sons how to be men. Can't do it. My wife can teach my son math. My wife can teach my sons to some degree how to dress. She can't teach them how to be men. Women were never meant to teach men how to be men. And any idiot that thinks otherwise is completely insane. Clovertack is correct. Everything my wife can teach my son, a man can also teach them, but it doesn't work the other way around. That's 100% correct. That is absolutely correct. Gravewalker says that he has learned far more from books than he has from people. The distilled work of a genius is on another level. There's probably a lot of truth to that. You know, there's probably a lot of truth to that. For you guys that don't know, I actually looked into Gravewalker's channel. Gravewalkers is an author and has written some books. I'm not really sure I haven't read any of them. I'm not really sure what they're about. Gravewalkers, you're welcome to get a link and come up and talk about it. You really like Schopenhauer? Oh, I do too, man. Yeah, he's like it was 1850-ish, and he's sarcastic as fuck. He really is. But yeah, Gravewalker is an author, and I don't know really what his books are about. But if he'd like to come up and promote them, he's welcome to. I'm assuming it is a he, could be a she. I don't know. I haven't met them. But yeah, so yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very interesting how I think it's really very interesting how we as men, how many men these days want to sub out the raising of their children. Now, some of that is kind of extorted from them, right? You go to tell well, no, we'll post the direct link, Gravewalkers. Here, I'll do it right now. I don't need you to search. We will post it for you. Give me a second. I'm sorry, I didn't have it pulled. There is Gravewalker's channel, folks. Sorry, I didn't have it on a button or anything, but I had to go find it. Yeah. So, at any rate, kind of lost my train of thought there. It's fine. We know that young men have been, to some extent, shoved off onto women because men have been told for years and years that women can do anything men can do. And there's, and women should raise the kids and the men should go off to work. I understand that to some degree, men have been extorted into not being as involved in their kids' lives, especially their sons' lives. But we need to fix that. And even if that is the case, again, get involved with your youth group at church. Get involved if you don't go to church. Help coach a junior basketball team or a football team or something like that, and have those hard conversations that young men sometimes need to have. Right? Be responsible. Don't get mad if you get hit and taken down. Right? Like, it's part of the game. If you're playing football and if you're playing soccer, well, that happens there too. If you get hit in baseball with a bat, then you probably did something to deserve it. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't judge. That was a joke. That was a joke. We as men all have something to offer the young men around us. Being told that it's not worthwhile, being told it's a waste of time, being told that your opinion doesn't matter, that they're not going to listen to you, don't bother. Don't bother. That's a psyop. It's a trap. That it's part of the feminist agenda, if you will. You know, go to Krav Maga, right? Or karate, whatever the fuck. Yes, Tyler. So last week I made a bold claim. My bold claim is that anyone that was using arguments from 2020 and 2021 for January 6th is wrong, and they shouldn't be arguing it at all because they have no fucking clue what they're talking about. Because of the way the investigations were carried out, how the courts were stacked, how everything was railroaded, it didn't make any sense. And now the real investigations are happening. And I told Tyler this. He's like, I've never heard that. I don't believe that. And he's like, I want to believe you, but I've never heard that. Don't believe it. Now it's coming out right now. The FBI alone now had 275 plainclothes agents embedded in Jan 6 crowds. 275 plainclothes agents. And that's the ones they're admitting to. I think 80 of those are being investigated for malicious acts. So, tell you, man, I don't care if people want to relitigate Jan 6. If you want to relitigate Jan 6 with me, bring it. Because more than likely, your information's out of date and you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. And I'm going to beat your ass with the baton of knowledge. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. Right. Yeah, they hate it when you tell them a two-parent household is the way to go, right? Yeah, so, yeah, and I agree, guys. You guys should, look, whether or not you're involved in your kids' lives or whatever, or maybe, maybe you got a neighbor, right? Maybe you're older and your kids are grown, but maybe you got a neighbor with young kids. Get them into Krav Maga, get them into jiu-jitsu or karate or Chinese kung fu or Tao Chi, whatever. I don't care. Get them into something where maybe in boxing, whatever. Tell them that sometimes the thing you need most in life is to get hit in the face. Sometimes you just need that in your life. Grave Walker says, I believe Obama was a phenomena in America. Genuine or witchery, he had truly massive support. Yes, we wonder why. The argument that Biden, the mummy, got more votes than Obama is ludicrous in the extreme. Rigged. Sure, I agree with that. That's actually the best part, right? But yeah, sometimes a young man just really needs to catch a foot, a hand, an elbow to the face. Builds character, It might get a good scar out of it. Women love scars, bro. Women love scars. They do. They just do. I've rambled enough tonight, guys. It's 10:30. Probably should have shut down half an hour ago, but I wanted to respect all of the people who came over on Twitch and we're chatting over there and hanging out. Really, really appreciate it. Ice House for Life, good to see you out there, my man. You fixed welders. That's awesome, dude. I have a couple of welders still. Like I still weld occasionally. Pain heals, chicks dig scars, glory lasts forever. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, and probably mostly gentlemen, as you exit the show, please remember that character has to be built and earned. You don't wake up one day and have character, right? You just don't. I need you to remember that men create men. That's just the way it is. Men create men. Women cannot teach men the things that men need to know. It's just a fact. It just is. And I'm telling you guys, life needs more involvement. I'm going to leave you with this parting thought. You either take a hand in the world. Hey, Mr. Justin, how are you? I'm sorry, I'm shutting down. But I'm sorry that you didn't make it in time, man. We talked a lot about helping young men tonight, and I know that that's something you support. As I close down, guys, as I get ready to leave, I want to leave you with a couple of thoughts, right? You cannot really truly appreciate the importance of working with and teaching and leading and helping young men to become grown-ass men. We cannot underestimate that. Whether I understand that women think that they're the most important thing, and women are definitely important. But if we don't have men that are acting like men, that are behaving like men, then we have a serious problem. The worst thing in the world is a man who does not understand what it is to be a man, to understand the strength that men have, the power that we possess. We have to do better. We as men have to do better, and we have to lead our young men to be good young men. Because the consequence of corrupted, evil young men is horrifying. It's horrifying. By making better young men, we can't ever eliminate. We can't eliminate violence towards women. We can't eliminate violence towards other men. But young men that understand how strong they are, young men that understand the damage they can cause and have felt what it's like to get punched in the face, what it's like to be powerless, thrown again, like literally bounced off a floor, right? And sparring or whatever. Young men that have felt that understand it, and then they understand what it would be like to inflict that on somebody else. And this is what's missing, and this is what we have to change. We have to change it. We have to do better by our young men. We have to. We don't have a choice. Because to not do it is horrifying. To not do it is horrifying. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out. You guys have been great tonight. It's been an awesome night for me. I've had have a really good time. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to get up tomorrow, and I'm going to do the same thing. Tomorrow night will be the debate show, 8 o'clock Central Time. Show up, show out, be cool. As always, guys, be cool. Wear glasses if you need them. And until next time, be cool.